wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. Yeah!
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Friday!
Yes!
Yeah, welcome to Friday, everybody.
Made it.
The weekend is almost upon us. You can smell it, taste it, see it from here.
I can taste it. Tastes pretty doggone good too.
Yeah, it tastes like McDonald's pastries.
Tastes
apparently.
like an apple fritter.
Apple fritter, that's what you went with today. All
I
right.
gotta tell you, Michael, I opted to order like a 7-year-old yesterday.
Good for you.
Tanner texted and he said, "What do you want from McDonald's tomorrow?"
Uh-huh.
I texted him.
You gave him a laundry list.
No, it was just the way I ordered it.
All right.
It just really made me chuckle. Hang on, I gotta pull up the text here.
All right.
It
is a McDonald's Friday. We
yes,
must
by the way, happy
thank
McDonald's
the fine
Friday.
folks at McDonald's as they do provide us delicious breakfast treats. So far to Sean's list of demands to this Friday included an apple fritter.
I said, and I quote, "Gimme a fritter, gimme, G-I-M-M-I-E.
Give me a fritty.
Give me a fritter and an oatmeal." And then in a separate text, "and a milk." And a milk.
A milk.
Yeah.
Did you get
ooh,
a milk?
what?
Is it for your oatmeal or is it for just... He's got to go get his milk. And... well, he went pretty good there. I mean, okay, the fritter's probably more of a delight. Nice.
Yes.
The oatmeal is a healthy, solid, responsible choice.
I am a man in my late 30s. I have to worry about my regularity.
And your Sonic 2 milk looks very adult.
Milk felt like a good choice, by the way. I am drinking 1% because I think I'm fat.
Well,
It's also the only thing they offer at McDonald's, but
good for you.
it's to you.
I like the fact it's 1% milk, but they put like kid stuff on it.
Yeah.
So it's still like, okay, it's 1% milk, which
But-
kids don't want anything to do with it if you told them that, and then they put kid stuff on it.
But it's got Sonic. This has got Sonic. This milk will make you fast.
Okay,
That's what I hear. So,
but swing by your McDonald's, the one closest near you, whether it's on the
Indeed.
south end or the north end or right smack dab in the middle.
There you go.
Swing on by, download the app where you can get exclusive deals, work up some points. Like right now, I'm saving up to where I can just buy a McDonald's. I think if I get enough points.
yeah, no, at this point, I'm pretty sure you're like 1,000 points away from a franchise.
Yeah, just gonna wait. I'll take this one.
Opt up and get the Harrier jet. Do you remember this? There was a contest in the 1990s. It was a Pepsi thing where they were giving away you get points or whatever, and you could get the points up to get a certain prize.
Yeah.
The commercial they ran.
I do remember this.
You remember
part.
this? They showed a guy winning a jet.
Yes.
And the guy sued Pepsi because he was ineligible for winning the jet, even though he got the number of points they said it was necessary to win or something like that. And so he ended up getting some huge, massive payout from PepsiCo.
Good for him.
Exactly. I mean, you got to pay attention.
Exactly.
If you watch enough.
I'm surprised Pepsi wasn't stronger on their legalese about can't actually win Harrier jet.
Harrier jet. have been real interesting, though, if they'd have rolled up with it. It's like, all right, here you go. It's decommissioned.
Well, I mean, I think
All the good stuff's taken off it.
they're also going to win you a pilot's license to learn to fly that thing. I mean, it's not like a car where, we're...
Honey, I'm taking the Harrier today.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Get some Pepsi. You need anything else?
Highway to the...
But big thank you to McDonald's.
Yes.
No, all seriousness, do the rewards program. Like I've earned, and I'm not, and you earn points fast. Like
You do.
I mean, I had a couple orders, and now I've got free sandwiches coming my way.
They really accrue fast.
So definitely take advantage of that, especially. If you got the family and you want to feed them, and you start using the points, next thing you know, you're feeding a kid or two, and didn't cost you a dime because you're using those reward points. So
I don't even know how I did it because to get the exact amount of points I had, it's weird.
yeah.
I had 6666.
Ooh.
I had 6,666 points. I'm like, I have to spend something because I can't have the points total of the beast.
Yes.
So I bought myself a fillet of fish,
Very good.
and it was delightful.
It is. I love the filet.
It was great.
I've been on a kick lately of filet of fish, and I don't know why. Like my last 3 visits to McDonald's, all included.
Dude, it's
Filet of fish.
it's the best sandwich. It's not heavy, so you don't feel like beef weighed down at the end. Chicken is nice.
I do love me
but
some chicken.
every now and again, chicken, patty is a bit much.
Yeah.
They just want something lighter, and the bun is steamed.
Yeah.
It's just the right amount of cheese. I always get mine with extra tartar sauce because that's just how I roll.
Well, I go two for.
Yeah, you go
filet.
double. You go
yeah,
double
I go
filet.
double fillet.
But I always go extra tartar because I love that initial pop, right? You have to pick the side, right? Because there's always the messy side. You got to go with the messy side first.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep a clean hand.
And I'm also a straightener. Like sometimes when they're working fast and they don't necessarily line them up correct, it's a little off kilter.
Yeah.
I straighten it back up.
Yeah, you got to line them back up a little
Straighten
bit.
back up. Yeah.
And sometimes the sauce gets in the box. You got to scrape a bit.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm a
you
slopper.
always go sauce side first to keep the hand clean. And then straight in.
Yeah, but I love one.
Make this a meme.
Now I'm kind of thinking that's lunch today now.
Yeah, filet of fish
Filet of
sounds
fish.
fan-freaking-tastic right now. I always feel weird when I double up on McDonald's though for Friday.
It's okay.
It happens more often than not.
It does. I've caught myself many a time doing the same thing.
I ain't even Catholic, and I'm going filet of fish Friday.
It's all, well, I think we're past the
Yeah,
season.
we are.
But, keep eating the fish. That's what I like doing. I'm doing it. I don't care that
Hold to your Lenten beliefs. all
every
year
other
round.
place has said, we're done with our fish till next season. Not McDonald's. They're like, no. You want fish, and it's, May. Fish on.
Yeah. Yep. You know what McDonald's is?
Now I can
McDonald's,
think. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, McDonald's is Dierks Bentley because they hold on.
There you go.
Yeah.
All I was thinking of when I said the fish on was, you remember that there was a commercial, there was a show on like Animal Planet for a little bit. And I never really watched the show, but I saw the commercial 1.7 million times. And it was for sea monsters or monsters. And it was this guy that I was thinking he was British or South African or something. And he would go and hunt these, like, go fishing and unearth these, like, terrors from the deep, like these barracuda-looking prehistoric fish and all that. But he would always do, fish on! And when he said it, so now when I said fish on, all I could think of was this guy, like, in the middle of nowhere fishing for, like, Loch Ness Monster.
No, I didn't hear about that. But did you? I don't remember that show. But did you hear that they figured out maybe what Loch Ness is? What Loch Ness Monster was?
Oh.
Like the iconic picture that
Nessie.
we've seen. Yeah, Nessie.
Uh-huh.
Potentially, what we have passed around the internet, shown to children, to generations of people, is whale junk.
Whales?
A whale's member
Uh-huh.
looks just like that picture.
Oh, I
Swear-
can't.
seriously.
I don't believe that.
I will find.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it does. I'm just saying all the photos and things of past we've seen.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what
the
that
legend.
is.
From what I've gathered, the legendary Loch Ness photo is nothing but whales junk.
I think someone.
I gotta find the. 'cause
I don't buy that
you don't have to.
because that part doesn't move like that. I don't care whose it is.
Well, you know how whales do that thing where they come up and they surface or whatever. Apparently, sometimes.
Oh no, because that thing was I call foul on that. I call foul.
Okay, now according to this,
I call foul.
so here's the picture. Okay, hold on. Let me. I can't make it bigger. That's the picture they're showing.
Yeah.
By comparison.
No.
But this, according to this professor who coined the theory, says Loch Ness Monster is not whale's penis. So
Okay.
there, I said the P word.
Good. Well, that doesn't sound ridiculous.
No, but that was an actual thing that was going around for a while online. It's whale's junk.
I find
And that felt like the most plausible option.
Okay. Oh, they said the famous photo's a hoax anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Ah, okay.
It's been proven.
Right. It was actually just the person who made the photo's penis. Right. I think what we're trying to say is a big thanks to McDonald's.
I was going to say, how did we get here?
I don't know. I never know.
How did you take me here? I just wanted to talk about delicious sandwiches. That's it.
Fish sandwich, whales.
I just wanted to talk about delicious
sandwiches. It all
sandwiches.
makes sense now.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Let me give you the rundown. We do have a full slate here. Here in about 5 minutes or so, about 20 after, we're going to have Congresswoman Yvette Herrell give us a call and give us an update. So we'll talk, I'm sure, a lot about stuff at the border, things like that. Peggy Bolin going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour talking camp invention. And you've got about... the May 18th is the deadline to get the save $15 code, but the camp will be June 6th through 10th, so we're a little over a month away from that.
Yep.
So she'll give us an update there, and then in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to replay an interview we had yesterday with Mark Green from Harvest Ministries and Pastor Joel Wood from Homeless Coalition, Waymaker Church, all of that. And they gave us an update on what's happening with Harvest Ministries, the Homeless Coalition, and talked about National Day of Prayer, which is coming up on May 5th, noon at the Chavez County Courthouse lawn. So we talk all about that in that interview there. Before we do any of that, though, let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure moving into central New Mexico and a low off to our east, and that means warm downslope wind today. Our afternoon high hitting about 90. Should get plenty of sunshine, and it will be a little bit gusty. Breezy and about 50 for the overnight hours under clear skies. Saturday, slightly cooler. We'll stay in the mid-80s and sunny, back to the 90s and fair and breezy on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, let me get to my weather. I was doing something else. Currently, 48 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 25%. Winds currently out of the south at 5 miles per hour. We got a red flag warning today. That's going to remain in effect through 8 p.m. this evening because a little breezy and the humidity is a little low already. Sunny today with a high of 91 today. Winds will be out of the west, 10 to 20. Tonight, clear skies with an overnight low of 50. Winds will be out of the west 15 to 20 miles per hour. They'll drop down about 5 to 10 after midnight tonight. Then looking at the weekend for Saturday, sunny, high of 84. North winds 5 to 15. Sunday, mostly sunny and 92. Winds will be breezy out of the south 5 to 15 early. 15 to 20 for the afternoon. And then Monday when you head back to work and school, sunny skies and a high of 92. All right, it is 7:18. We're going to take a 3-minute commercial break. Congresswoman Yvette Herrell is going to join us on the other side. Matter of fact, I've got her on the phone now. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll talk with Congresswoman Yvette Herrell on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Crack the vault and save this month at Roswell Honda with an amazing selection of vehicles priced to move so you don't have to break the bank. Like a 2016 Audi A3 for just $211 a month, a 2014 Chrysler Town & Country for just $181 a month, or a 2010 Honda Odyssey for just $161 a month. Get a 12-pack of soda and a trip to Mexico just for stopping by, a $15 gas gift card with a test drive, and a car detailing kit with purchase. And crack the code for your chance to win cash all month long at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
If you need a Kubota that works and plays hard, stop looking. You'll find everything you need at Amigo Machinery. When it comes to tough Kubota tractors, mowers, construction equipment, and utility vehicles, all with low-rate financing, Amigo Machinery is your one-stop shop. We are passionately committed to providing our customers with the highest quality products, most innovative solutions, and services delivered with integrity and professionalism. Stop by Amigo Machinery in Roswell or see us online at amigo-machinery.com.
The weather is heating up. Time for new beginnings and time to get a new vehicle for you and your family. Richland Chevy Buick GMC and Richland Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram both have amazing spring deals on both new and pre-owned vehicles. You'll find a huge inventory of certified pre-owned vehicles. Or better yet, customize your new vehicle. Order it today and build the vehicle of your dreams. Right now, Richland is offering top dollar for your trade. And with the Richland Brand Champion Program, you can ride with confidence knowing you are taken care of long after the sale. Ride for the brand that rides for you. Richland, where service is always job one. You're invited. Car Affair 2022, presented by the Cars Club of Carlsbad. Saturday, June 4th at the beach in Carlsbad. Early registration is Friday with a cruise. Then Saturday, car registration starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 10:30. Enjoy music, food, car-related swap meet, 5K run, door prizes, and a special Try 5 Chevys area. To register or for more information, visit carsclubofcarlsbad.com or Carlsbad Automotive Restoration Society on Facebook. Enjoy Carlsbad's biggest car show, Saturday, June 4th at the beach. Ad paid for by Carlsbad Lodgers Tax.
Hear the call of the wild this summer with summer camp at the Spring River Zoo, with camps for kids age 4 through 17 and 7 weekly camps offered in June and July. Camp topics include predators and prey, camouflage, zookeeper roles, and zoo research. Lunch and snacks are provided daily, and all kids get a camp t-shirt. Space is limited. Sign-ups are on now. Find more details on each camp at springriverzoo.com and register your kid's spot now through roswellconnect.com. Go wild this summer with summer camps at the Spring River Zoo, 1306 East College.
The National Education Association of New Mexico, a union of teachers and school staff, believes every child deserves to learn at a school that inspires their imagination, cultivates their curiosity, and ensures a fulfilling life. Public schools should provide all our students with small class sizes and one-on-one attention. NEA New Mexico asks you to join us so together we can end the teacher and staff shortage and invest in our public education system once and for all. Sponsored by NEA New Mexico.
The tool used to measure your feet at the shoe store is called a Brannick device. The person that measures your feet at home for no reason is called a creep with a foot fetish. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us on the phone this morning is House of Representatives representing here in CD2 for us in New Mexico, Congresswoman Yvette Harrell back on the phone with us. Good morning, ma'am. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Good to be with you again, Mike.
Glad to have you. It's always a good time talking with you, even if the stuff we're talking about is always not the most fun. But I love having to talk with you on the radio here. So
I like the way you say that. It's the stuff we talk about is not always the most fun. I kind of like the way you kind of preface this. That's funny.
Well, I mean, it would. Unfortunately, you don't get to do all good news stuff all the time. They make you you spend more time fighting than working on the. But
yeah.
I'm guessing is probably a lot of border talk in Congress right now. Is that pretty much the main thing, or is there something bigger fish that you're working on right now?
No, the border has absolutely been the focus this week, especially in light of the administration wanting to get rid of Title 42 fully.
Yeah.
And of course, the Louisiana judge came back and said no. That needs to stay in place, and we know that that'll be temporary. We know this administration will probably appeal that, so regardless, it will eventually go away. But what has been very interesting this week is Secretary Mayorkas, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, for the first time since I've been in Congress, we actually now have had him in front of 2 different committees. So he was on Homeland Security Committee earlier in the week, and then yesterday sat in front of the Judiciary Committee. And I can tell you this, it was even more frustrating than before. I mean, he actually said that he had operational control over the southern border. Well, Mike, I don't know about you, but when we have a record number of illegals crossing our border, there were over 220,000 in March alone, I don't think that signals operational control. And I actually kind of feel like, don't you have to have control of something before you can, actually say you've got control? And there's absolutely no evidence of that.
That's
and
it's
just getting worse and worse. Yeah, and the morale of the Border Patrol officers just really not being able to do their jobs because so many of them now have been pulled back into the soft side, meaning they're in the processing centers.
Sure.
Instead of out boots on the ground. And I was down on our southern border Good Friday and went down, and I was down on the Johnson Ranch for about 2.5 hours. I did not see one Border Patrol agent that entire time.
Wow.
However, right before I got down to the ranch, I stopped in Columbus at a little restaurant there called Borderland. There were some National Guard troops in there. So, of course, I thanked them, and I said, hey, where are you guys from? And they were all from Florida.
Oh,
Because
really?
our governor doesn't see a crisis happening on our southern border, doesn't understand just what is happening down there. So it's a testament to governors around the country that understand the protection we need to have in place and the help we need to provide our Border Patrol officers.
Wow.
So, yes, they were all from Florida, and they told me that the uptick in encounters out there on the Johnson Ranch, then going west to Hachita, down on Judy Keeler's place, it's just, he said it's astronomical. And so it's just really a big deal, and it has been for a very long time. And I'm hoping maybe to get some more press down to New Mexico's border so we can really, show everybody what is going on. In fact, one of the ranchers, Judy Keeler, sent me a text Monday, and just so frustrated. They had done another raid, big encounter there.
Okay.
They brought a bunch of the illegals to her front yard because it's the proximity to where Border Patrol could pick them up. But she said there was a pregnant woman, obviously pregnant, holding a 1-year-old with a 3-year-old next to her.
Wow.
In a group of men that she said the whole thing looked wrong. But this is what we're seeing day in and day out across the southern border.
And then once this Title 42 gets lifted, there's I've heard thousands, if not millions, waiting for that to happen and start making their treks across the border as well too. So we're talking about not enough staffing and people there now. Wait till that Title 42 hits. It's going to be a huge problem if they don't address this some way, shape, or form.
Right, because the problem is we're seeing about 8,000 people a month coming across the southern border. When Title 42 goes away, we can expect to see numbers around 18,000, and that number comes from Brandon Judd, the president of the Border Patrol Council. And I just had a meeting earlier this morning before we got on the call here with the with the Border Caucus here in Washington. There's several members that belong, and Congressman Biggs from Arizona, he was talking about, I went down to the California border, down to Tijuana and that area just to see how things were going.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that in a minute. But then I went to New Mexico, back to our border, instead of going to Yuma. But he was saying at the Yuma Processing Center, it's built for about 800 people.
Yeah.
During COVID, they tried to keep it around 350.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, right there at Easter, when he went down, they had over 3,000 people at that processing center.
Wow.
And that's before Title 42 goes away.
Wow.
So the pressure, that we're putting on these facilities, and this morning at our meeting was the new commissioner of the Border Patrol Council. He's from Arizona and clearly completely out of touch with reality. Sounded just like Mayorkas, Secretary Mayorkas, saying, we've made great improvements. He said he'd been down on the border, talked to hundreds of agents that are doing good. The morale is fine. They're very excited about the tools they're implementing. Well, that's very interesting because we're hearing they need more resources, they need more tools, they need to finish the wall,
Yeah.
So
All
it's
the opposite.
just part of it's just part of this administration's narrative, and that's exactly what Secretary Mayorkas did in the committee hearings. This is exactly what the commissioner did this morning, and I tell you, who's not buying into this anymore are the people of New Mexico, the people of America. They are over it. They see the detrimental outcomes of this, the fentanyl, the uptick in crime, the uptick in people, these kids getting into our schools where there's just not enough room in some places, maybe not New Mexico, but definitely Texas.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, I learned something new, talked to some people in New Mexico yesterday, and this is something I've never talked about because I honestly didn't think about it because we're always focused on human trafficking, the illegals coming over and the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But this gentleman told me the one thing no one's even mentioned is there is a lot of livestock smuggling going on. I had no idea.
Really?
I mean, in
I
the
wouldn't have thought-
thousands of heads. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. If people say, hey, we got to eat, we're out here, and, I mean, you don't think about it, but if you think about it, it makes sense a little bit. You know what I mean? Because when you got that many people, they're going to eat what they need to eat, and if it's stealing, taken, that's what they got to do to survive. And yeah, that's a problem.
That's exactly right. And I hadn't really thought about it, but it was kind of twofold. He said that even some of the brand inspectors and the inspectors down on the border are having a tough time because even when they are able to finally, wrangle these guys in, get a hold of these animals, whether it's horses or cattle, get them down. Then mostly they move them over to Texas to hold on to them. But then the courts are so busy and so full that the judges aren't even hearing these cases. But here's the one thing I want to say is what I'm hearing is some of the cattle coming across aren't the best, and the horses as well.
Okay.
And what the concern is they're thinking, and I think this might be right, and it's horrible to think about, but they're thinking because they don't go through any of the X-ray machines or anything when they bring them, especially across Columbus.
Yeah.
It's diseases and full of fentanyl, full of drugs. They get them across that border very quickly so they can do away with them and get the drugs back out of them. It's a very almost foolproof way to do it.
Yeah, I didn't think, because, think about it. They were using babies, get them across, stuffing them, and, I mean, that's horrifying. So this doesn't seem like a hardly a stretch at all to do that if they're capable of doing that. You know what I mean?
That's right. And I've had people say some of the livestock coming across, some of it no doubt healthy, but you're right as it relates to these transmittable diseases in herds. And I remember some years back there was a huge outbreak of, I don't remember I'm not sure if it was bird flu or what, but remember it was something to do with livestock, poultry coming across the border. It was just getting into
like a
all of these
or something.
Or something.
Yeah,
but it was coming from out of country. And, and I've had meetings with dairy people and some of those folks, and, there are some concerns that even TB and these dairy herds is coming from south of the border because we as Americans and just with our health safety, with our agricultural operators that are so careful, now to see diseases not only in humans, but we haven't seen these transmittable diseases in decades, but now to see uptick in livestock diseases. And, I was just sitting there yesterday thinking, goodness sakes, I hadn't really thought about this and hadn't even talked about this. So, but it just goes to show the complexity of this issue and how we're continuing to put New Mexicans and Americans in harm's way without even batting an eye, and it's sad. It really is sad.
Especially in the world we live in where we need to be doing the opposite. We need to ramp up our efforts, not loosen them a little bit here. I have a quick question related to this before I want to talk about something else. I remember Texas was about a month ago. Whenever they were gathering up these the folks that are crossing the borders, they were putting them on buses and sending them to D.C. And I remember seeing in the news how whatever happened to that. Are they still sending them to D.C. And what?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened to them after they went to D.C.?
They get to D.C. and a few of the buses I saw were met by NGO, these non-governmental organizations who, now that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother show segment. But, and then from there, some of them I know were being picked up and taken to some different, like these organization places, these halfway houses, others. But that's just what's happening all over.
Okay.
I mean, I actually took a guy from New York down to the southern border right there at Easter. That's why I wanted to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he wanted to go, and I thought this was really cool that he wanted to connect the dots. He said in New York, and he lives in the heart of New York, and he said, they call them midnight migrants because they have over 160,000 people who've been flown into New York City, and that's it. They get off the plane and they're on, maybe there's a non-governmental organization waiting for them, maybe not. Maybe they have a sponsor there. So they're just infiltrating the community, the city. And so the reason he wanted to come, and I was really excited that he wanted to come to New Mexico, is he did a lot of video down there, but to show people, this is where it starts.
Gotcha.
And then, and then back to New York, and this is where it's ending.
Yeah.
Or this is where the new chapter starts. And so he was showing those big breaks in the border barrier, where we've got all that material sitting out there on the ground, and yet no political will by this administration to finish the border wall. So it was very interesting. That I thought would be a great messaging tool, and to help, I think, let people see and understand. Because if you haven't been down there, you just kind of can't get a sense for what's happening.
Well, and the American people are getting mixed signals from what's going on down there. And I mean, we New Mexicans and Americans that live on the border understand it, but folks that don't. They'll see the images on the news at night, and you look, and I think a lot of people think it's all a bunch of people that are looking for a future here, which we understand. Yeah, we get people like that too, and we understand we want kids, and we're not trying to be like menaces, but unfortunately, there's so much nefarious that comes through with that, and so they're playing an angle like, oh, it's just a bunch of people looking for freedom, and I'm not saying there's not people in that, but amongst all of that is stuff that wants to hurt and kill and damage this country, either intentionally or unintentionally, and we have to protect our citizens, and so that's the balance. It's like, no, if we want to help these same people that are looking for, but there's a different way to do it. You can't just start walking across the border because of the sex trafficking, the drugs, the terrorism, and just the biological, the stuff about bringing disease and things that we don't want in this country to spread and create a pandemic. All of that is the variables we're talking about here. And so we want to find a way to help people that need help, but at the same time protect the citizens of the United States. And Democrats and Republicans have very differing views on how to do that. And that's what we're debating right now. And I think like what you're talking about, getting people down there, taping, showing what's really going on down here, people can maybe at least understand what we're talking about, instead of making it, oh, you're heartless, you're this, and it's like, no, we have hearts, but at the same time we don't want to destroy the America helping people at this, you know what I mean? We've got to find that balance, and if we overtax ourselves, we're going to end up creating a weaker country and being vulnerable to everything else, superpowers, to disease, to people defending trying to take away our freedoms. That happens every single day because they don't have them, and that's what we're talking about.
Yep, and you nailed it. And believe me, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, my heart breaks for these people, and I know there's a percentage that do want to come for a better life and all of this, but the real clear message needs to be, we have to take care of our own first, like you just said it perfectly, the health, safety, welfare, the sovereignty. But here's what's interesting. There are a lot of people that think that all these people that are coming over illegally, not, a large number of them, are coming here to seek asylum. But what I want people to understand is, number one, of the 2 million people that came into the nation last year illegally, the actual percentage of asylum seekers, legitimate asylum seekers, is less than 10%. It's single digits. And so people need to understand that. Number two, law states that you cannot seek asylum for the purpose of economic gain. So you can't just say, I'm seeking asylum because I want to move to America or what other country, some other country to get a better job. You can't. That's against the law. And in our laws and in immigration laws, if you are truly seeking a political asylum, then you have to go to the first port of entry that you make contact with in whatever country that is.
Okay.
The first country away from your country of origin. Many of these people are coming through 2 or 3 countries to get to America and then seeking asylum. So that's why even of the small percentage of people that are actually making it to court, the court cases get thrown out because it's actually not a legitimate asylum case.
Okay.
And, so the other problem with this is they're coming, then asking for asylum, then their court cases are, maybe 18 or 24 months away. Well,
Sure.
most of them are not showing up for court, and then we've got that entire catch and release, and we've got that, the ankle monitor, which people are cutting off immediately, and even the Border Patrol will tell you that a lot of these migrants that come into the country, go to court, the cartel are waiting on the backside of that courthouse, waiting to get those people again, because in some cases, these folks are trying to do better, still owe the cartel money. And what we've done is create, way beyond the cottage industry, we have created an all-out funding source, a revenue stream for the cartel, and they're the biggest winners in this whole entire process.
Yeah, the more this goes on, the more money they make, the more power they gain, and the worse it is for the average person, you and I here.
Exactly. And then, oh my God, I got to say one more thing, because this made me so mad. In the hearing the other day with Secretary Mayorkas, they're actually considering utilizing VA, Department of Veterans Services, resources to take down to the border to ensure these people who are, by the way, breaking the law to enter our country, but to make sure that they have access to the medical services they need. I am
they
so
can't take
angry
care of the
about
VA,
that.
our veterans right now, let alone other people. What they have no business doing anything other than working with veterans, because they haven't finished doing that yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the double standard.
Yeah.
And I was on the Newsmax the other night, and I said that is absolutely absurd, the fact that we have homeless veterans, that we make veterans jump through hoops when they should have access to health care and benefits easier than anybody else. And yet we're considering now taking away the doctors, nurses, some of the medical staff, and some of the medical equipment away from veteran services, pushing it to the southern border so that we're able to provide medical services for illegals. I'm telling you, the double standard and the hypocrisy of what this country is doing right now to the American people it's embarrassing, it's horrific, and it just makes no sense whatsoever. And I could not have imagined ever that we would hear and see the things that we're seeing in our country right now. And I'm not the only one. Everybody is starting to see it. It's not blue and red anymore. It's red, white, and blue, because people care.
If you need more evidence, look in the headlines yesterday. One of the big things that were in the headlines yesterday was this, Ministry of Truth, or whatever they're wanting to call this this thing that they're looking into about. You've heard about this, right? Where the president was talking about this panel on seeking the truth, and the ministry of, that doesn't raise 17 red flags. I don't know what does.
Well, yeah, and the other thing that came out, I hadn't really heard about. I know a little bit what you're talking about, but I haven't been following that close. But the other thing, and Mayorkas said this in the committee hearing, was, they're setting up a disinformation, task, kind of under the arm of the Homeland Security.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? And then Mayorkas has said it twice. Once he said that the greatest threat to the American public is this white supremacy, this entire racial divide. But then a few weeks ago, he said the greatest threat to the American people is climate change. I mean, how about the greatest threat right now is this administration, these failed policies, and these cabinet members that won't enforce the law or uphold the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
That, to me, is the biggest threat to the American people. Ignorance and really a dereliction of duty. That's the biggest threat to the American people.
I know we got to wrap it up here, but they've been saying this as long as I've been on this earth. You'll never lose your freedoms all in one great chunk. They're going to take it one at a time, slowly evolve it out of you, and that's exactly what's happening right now. And if you don't raise awareness and be conscious of that when you sit, and we as Americans, the best thing we can do is be aware about it and make your choices known when it's coming to election day. That's the best thing you can do to stop it. But you got to educate yourself and understand the difference between actual good versus them slowly trying to indoctrinate us into taking away some of our freedoms, just slowly, one at a time. And it's happening. And the pandemic was a perfect vessel to do that, because people are willing to sacrifice freedoms for security. to a point, and they're going to push that until as far as they can, and they're going to keep pushing until we say no. So
That's right.
how you do that is the ballot box, and that's all I can encourage people to do is exercise that in the ballot box here in June for the primaries and November for the general election. So
that's right. And I think as these, like you mentioned, the COVID and some of the policies here and just this crazy train that we're on right now as it relates to just government in general, I think what it also has done, though, is really exposed to really general masses of people that it doesn't have to be political. We have more commonalities than not, and I think it's really, this price at the pump, this lack of groceries on the shelves, that's just not affecting Democrats or Republicans. It's affecting everyone.
Yeah.
And I think, like you say, when you start seeing this, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. But when I think people from both sides can start going, wait a minute, this isn't working. And you're absolutely right. The way we change it is to educate ourselves, keep talking about it, and do our due diligence at the ballot box and ensure that we have accountability and transparency in the government that absolutely is trying to take over this is cradle to grave government right now. There is absolutely a real war against our freedoms, our individual rights, our Constitution, and it's time to just not be timid about it. We got to talk about these things and help each other understand what's going on.
And please understand, when they try to tell you different, it does not make you any less patriotic or anything else. They're going to use all those tactics, but stand firm to your beliefs and things, because that's what you're allowed to do in this country. And there's a lot of people that made the ultimate sacrifice to ensure you can do that. So let's do that, please.
That is right. That's amen. You are so right.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you wanted to mention before we let you get back to it? I know you got, I'm sure, about 20 things to work on after this. So.
I'm just so grateful. Just a heads up, there's another fire that has broken out over on the Gila. We just got word of it yesterday. So it's 1,200 acres contained. So, of course, we're waiting for updates on that. And then I'm going to be heading back to the district later today or tomorrow for sure. So spend some more time in New Mexico. It's always so nice to be home.
Well,
I'm looking forward to that.
Well, good.
Well, good. Me too.
And anytime you're in town, want to pop in for a visit, always have an open invite, and hope you take advantage of it.
I sure will. I appreciate you so much, and you just have a blessed weekend, and thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, and you too, and thank you for working the good fight for us here in Southeast New Mexico. We do appreciate you.
You're welcome. I'm happy to do it. I'm honored to do it. So, good deal. Well, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great weekend. When we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good. Yes,
all right.
sir.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Congresswoman Yvette Harrell. Big thank you to her for spending some time with us and you hearing what's going on with the border and all that. I pay attention. This is the stuff, you talk about violence and all that. That's not, go to the ballot box. We make you known. And that's how we fix this. It's the only way I know how, without, doing something crazy. All right. It is 7:47. Let's go ahead and pause for some news. Kim Commando update, sports report, and your Wall Street business update as well. Don't go away.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. An Artesia man is spending the next 43 years behind bars. A Chavez County jury found 45-year-old Edward Bingham guilty of 4 counts of child sexual exploitation. The New Mexico AG's office says Bingham's case alleges he had sexual relations with a 14-year-old girl. He was arrested in May of 2018 with the girl in his car at a vacant lot near the Roswell International Air Center. The cannabis industry is growing in Eddy County as the state has issued more licenses for retail pot outlets. 8 licenses were approved for retail stores, cannabis micro businesses, producers, or manufacturers within Carlsbad city limits on Friday. About 15 producers and 10 other businesses submitted applications. The Cannabis Regulation Act passed by the New Mexico legislature and signed by Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
This news sounds so otherworldly that you might have trouble believing that it's true. but it is, and it's going to affect everything you see and read online. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. When Washington learned that Elon Musk was buying Twitter, President Biden's office quietly began setting up something called the Disinformation Governance Board. Orwellian, right? The board will operate under the Department of Homeland Security, led by DHS Undersecretary for Policy Robert P. Silvers, whoever that is. The task, to monitor all social media. When the board, that is the government, deems it to be untrue, it can take legal action. Now imagine if this board would try to do the same thing with newspapers. It would be immediately clear that the board's very existence would be a violation of our Constitution's First Amendment, which is exactly what this is. You can learn more about this right now at commando.com. That's KOMANDO.com. As a small business owner juggling 100 balls in the air at once, there's just no time to interview candidates who aren't qualified for the job. And that's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier and faster than ever for you to find the people who you want to interview, and for free. Create a free job post in minutes to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates worth interviewing faster. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. You can post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. That's linkedin.com/Kim.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure moving into central New Mexico and a low off to our east, and that means warm downslope wind today. Our afternoon high hitting about 90. Should get plenty of sunshine, and it will be a little bit gusty. Breezy and about 50 for the overnight hours under clear skies. Saturday, slightly cooler. We'll stay in the mid-80s and sunny. Back to the 90s and fair and breezy on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. It's off to the last day of the regular season today in baseball. After Goddard lost to Artesia yesterday by a score of 6-3, the Rockets are still in a position to win district overall, but Goddard would have to sweep Artesia today in a doubleheader. That starts at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, it's Roswell taking on Clovis today at home in a baseball doubleheader to close out the Coyote season. That's also starting at 5 o'clock. And the Roswell baseball team will be, softball team will be playing a twin bill at Clovis. That's doubleheader that starts at 5 o'clock as well. And that'll wrap up the regular season for the big schools. So we have some scattered small school action going into early next week. But basically, this is the end. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the SRN News Business Brief, I'm Ron DeRockstra. Elon Musk sold more than 4 million shares of Tesla stock, worth roughly $4 billion, most likely to help fund his $44 billion purchase of Twitter. Amazon reported its first quarterly loss since 2015. Its money-making juggernaut stalled by a slowdown in a pandemic-induced online shopping and a huge write-down of its investment in an electric vehicle startup. Apple reporting strong quarterly results despite supply shortages, but warning its growth slowdown is likely to deepen. And California and 15 other states want the U.S. Postal Service to buy electric-powered delivery vehicles. They're suing to halt the purchases of thousands of gas-powered trucks for the fleet. Wall Street Dow futures down 87 points. The Nasdaq's off by 122. The S&P 500 is 25 points lower. With SRN News Business Brief.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. The education assistance I received made it possible for me to be the first person in my family to go to school and graduate debt-free. That education helped get me to the first day at my dream job, a job that I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job, plus the other benefits possible from the Army National Guard, helped me become a first-time homeowner. Also, part of my role as a National Guard soldier means I know that I can be one of the first to respond and help my community if disaster ever strikes. I'm extremely proud that I get to serve my community, and that first step I took by joining the Army National Guard has made all the difference in my life. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com to find out what firsts are available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Sometimes we put off important health needs like surgeries because, well, we worry about the pain and time needed for recovery. Dr. Paul Torres, a board-certified general surgeon, has joined Loveless Healthcare Center and is helping patients in the Roswell area get back to the lives they love with less pain and a faster recovery through advances in minimally invasive surgery. To find out if laparoscopic surgery is the best solution for you, call Loveless and make an appointment today at 575-625-3222.
You're invited. Car Affair 2022, presented by the Cars Club of Carlsbad. Saturday, June 4th at the beach in Carlsbad. Early registration is Friday with a cruise. Then Saturday, car registration starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 10:30. Enjoy music, food, car-related swap meet, 5K run, door prizes, and a special Tri-5 Chevy's area. To register or for more information, visit carsclubofcarlsbad.com or Carlsbad Automotive Restoration Society on Facebook. Enjoy Carlsbad's biggest car show, Saturday, June 4th at the beach. Ad paid for by Carlsbad Lodgers Tax.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches in a day. So if you're told you're growing like a weed, you can say, "No, I'm growing like a bamboo." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. Got to hit the button. That always helps. It is 7:55. Stay tuned next hour, about 8:15 or so. Peggy Boland's going to be joining us, talking Camp Invention, which is an amazing STEM camp. Fun week of they do 4 different projects for kids entering kindergarten through 6th grade. And the camp will be coming up June 6th to the 10th. It's going to be at First United Methodist Church from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That week. We'll talk more about that with Peggy Boland next hour. Of course, round 1 of the NFL draft took place last night. And as I was talking yesterday, I really don't care about most of it except for what my team does. And I think a lot of people are like that. I know there's some people that want to know about, they're big college football fans, and they follow every pick and every trade and every little thing. And there was a lot of trade. And I know Washington actually, you know what? Thursday night, their decision-making I'm pretty happy with. I thought they did a good job. They ended up trading. They had the 11th pick, and they traded, I believe, with the Saints, and they got so they traded back to 16 and then picked up 2 more picks. And in the 3rd round, they lost the 3rd round getting Wentz, so they picked up I think a 3rd and a 4th in there. So now they got 2 extra picks in this year's draft, and they moved back 5 spots and ended up picking up wide receiver out of Penn State, a guy named Dotson, who everything I've seen so far, he's got hands. He's not the biggest. He's a shorter wide out, like 6 foot, in which, you know, they all like the 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" guys. But apparently, from what I'm hearing, he's got the best hands in the draft, and I think they got a good one. I think they're placing. I think Washington's going to put him in as a slot receiver, but I don't know. All I know is if we can get Cam Sims healthy, and what's his name? The guy from used to play for Carolina. I can't remember, but I'm pretty happy with last night. They got 2 picks, and they picked up a wide receiver that's going to start in their first day of action, and so I think they good job. I give them an A for day 1. We'll see how they do with 2 and 3 tonight, and then the rest on Saturday. So
sports go sports.
Yeah,
I missed all of it last night.
Did you follow? I have no idea what the Packers did last night.
No, I was going to go to Thomas's draft party, but I texted him like, "Are there any children there?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "I will avoid the party then. I don't want to be that guy."
Yeah, and I knew my wife, so to be honest, I didn't watch any of the draft before I went to bed. I kind of just got on Twitter and looked and see how Washington did and read the gazillion pundits' thoughts on it and went to bed.
Cowboys seem to be pretty happy with their pick. Can't remember the name offhand.
Yeah, I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention.
But Jerry Jones personally called him reached out on the phone. So, yeah.
Well, they usually do that.
Him and the coaching staff. So, yeah.
I think Jerry does that with Dallas. Not all teams have the owner call, but
Yeah.
I think Dallas is one of those that, especially the first round, and maybe not the sixth round guy, but the first round guy probably gets a phone call from the owner. So maybe the second, depending on the name. But anyway, we'll see what happens the rest of the weekend. I'll either be grumbling or cheering come Monday morning. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll just sit here and eat my McDonald's in the meantime. But happy, all signs point to happy, and so far.
It'll be an interesting season.
Yeah. Only people I've seen mad are people that had picks for guys that had no business. They knew they weren't going to be down at 11, let alone 16. And people
Are they calling this the debut season for the Commanders?
They're trying to. They're trying to make it like a. I mean, well, we got to go. I'll tell you later. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Milk.
Time for Town Hall News. We'll be back on the other side.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. Tens of thousands of troops from NATO and other North Atlantic nations will take part in a series of military exercises across Europe in the coming weeks. The exercises come as Western countries seek to deter Russian aggression. Correspondent Eric Tucker reports the prisoner swap involving Trevor Reed was a rarity for the U.S. government.
Prisoner swaps are not common. This is not something that the U.S. government enjoys doing as an option of first resort. And there are a couple reasons for that. One is, I think there's always a concern about encouraging a foreign government to take more prisoners as a way to extract concessions and get their own people back home.
Reed, a Marine veteran, was swapped in Turkey on Wednesday for Konstantin Yaroshenko, who'd been serving a 20-year prison sentence in a cocaine trafficking conspiracy case. Inflation in the Eurozone has hit a record high as the war in Ukraine boosts fuel prices.
Annual inflation hit a record high of 7.5% for April. This comes as countries using the euro are still seeing slow economic recovery after the latest COVID-19 outbreaks. Fears that the war may lead to an interruption of oil or gas supplies from Russia have pushed prices up. Energy prices jumped a startling 38%. Because of this, many European governments are holding back from halting energy imports from Russia. Inflation is also putting uncomfortable pressure on the European Central Bank to look at raising interest rates in the next coming months. I'm Naomi Shannon.
European countries that are dependent on Russian imports are looking to get greater access to the global natural gas market through a new pipeline that crosses a remote border area of Greece and Bulgaria. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 20 points. More on these stories at Town Hall.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 3388 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 3388. Enjoy.
Judging by the top of this year's NFL draft, it seems a lot of executives are buying the adage that defense wins championships.
The first 5 selections in the 2020 NFL Draft all line up on defense. 3 edge rushers and 2 cornerbacks. The Jacksonville Jaguars started on the edge, selecting Trayvon Walker of national champion Georgia as the overall number 1. Defensive end Aiden Hutchinson of Michigan went to the Detroit Lions at number 2. Cornerbacks were next, with the Houston Texans taking Derek Stingley Jr. and the New York Jets, Ahmad Sauce Gardner. The New York's Giants went back to the edge with the 5th pick, Kayvon Thibodeau of Oregon. It's the first time in 31 years that no player on offense went in the opening 5 picks. I'm Ben Thomas.
The Islamic State affiliate in Afghanistan has claimed responsibility for 2 bombings in the country's north that targeted the country's minority Hazara ethnic group. News and analysis at townhall.com. President Biden says he's considering some level of student loan forgiveness, but not saying how much.
I'm in the process of taking a hard look at whether or not there will be additional debt forgiveness, and I'll have an answer on that in the next couple of weeks.
How high are you looking at?
Thank you.
The comments came days after Mr. Biden had a private meeting with Democratic lawmakers who pressed him on the issue. An inflation gauge closely tracked by the Federal Reserve jumped 6.6% in March compared with a year ago, the highest reading in 4 decades. Further evidence that surging prices are pressuring household budgets and the health of the economy. Yet there were signs in Friday's report from the Commerce Department that inflation might be slowing from its galloping pace and could be nearing a peak, at least for now. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. Leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Sunshine and rainbows. Happy Friday, everybody.
Pretty out there, actually.
Welcome to hour number 2.
Let's do this.
Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Friday.
Yes.
It's just...
Let it wash over you.
It's like, let it rain down upon you.
Did you ever do that thing?
Fill your pores with happiness.
When you were a kid with, where like you would have, you or your friend would shut their eyes and they would do that thing where you just do the fingers down?
I kind of remember like...
Or was I just weirdly close to all my friends?
No, that was like a move you would do with like when
girls.
You were... Yeah, like when you were like 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like you ever try the light as a feather, stiff as a board?
Uh-huh.
You know? Yeah, that's all the stuff that you did when you were like 12.
Yeah. Oh, 12.
Or 13.
Oh, you weren't supposed to do that in your early 30s. Right, got it.
But
got
I mean,
it.
like when you were a kid.
I was wondering why I was getting such weird looks at that women's conference.
I remember doing all those at like sleepovers because I had a friend, and this was kind of, not it was racy, we're just dumb kids, but I had a friend that was my age, and we'd spend the night over it, but he had a twin sister, and then he had another sister that was like a year older.
Oh, dang.
And so a lot of times the sleepovers would turn into co-ed slumber parties as their friends would we'd not sleep, they'd be in one room of the house,
right.
but it was like, and so they play games like that because it was a co-ed party, so to speak. And so yeah, we did that and that thing you're talking about with the feel this and the buttercup thing and
did you ever do the thing with your hands in the doorway?
Yeah.
Or they
Yeah, all of that stuff. We did all of that. So, but that was just pre-adolescence. Hey, how do I get in contact with girls and still fall in the vein of, not being creepy or
it still was very creepy.
I know, but from our perspective,
but it was passable. Yeah,
we were being classy.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, we weren't being savages.
Yeah. Not even gonna say it. I was gonna say they wanted it to. Nope. Not getting canceled. Nope.
But just boys being boys back then, and then we were on. But yeah. That's the only reason we would participate in those because we're hanging out with girls and thinking, maybe they'll let us kiss them or something. That's kind of it never happens, but that's the hope of every 12-year-old boy. Learning to not be awkward as men, which we're still learning.
Yeah,
but,
I'm still bad. I'm still real bad at it. Just for the record.
And then, because then when you got too awkward, we're like, let's go play Spy Hunter on the Commodore 64.
The beauty of it is now...
Or Silent Service.
Oh, I like that. The beauty of it is now is I have self-awareness.
Yes.
Like, I know I'm awkward.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. Like, if what is wrong? I am awkward.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm that last rapid 8 Mile. I put it all on the table for you.
I have moments of awkwardness, but now as I've gotten older, I've had moments of I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
Like I used to be cognizant, and like now I'm like,
Yeah.
It is
You
what it
literally
is.
said it the other day, like, I'm married.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Either like it or don't like it. This is what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hop on or hop off. It's my train.
Yeah. Hey, but like those parties or sleepovers, that's like the one times I did the Ouija board and all those things, those kid things.
I never did that.
Those are the one time I did it.
I was too religiously surrounded and raised.
Right.
Plus, it was Oklahoma.
Tool of the devil.
When I was a kid, it was Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That was, I don't think the Ouija board was even allowed in Oklahoma and in the 90s.
I have no idea what the parents felt about
It was the height of satanic panic.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was super into it. I remember one of the earliest like memories that I have was watching a John Ankerberg series, which I think John Ankerberg's still on the air, or like him or his son. And it was all about metal music, and it's
I kind of vaguely remember something like it. Yeah.
And they would show, or they would play some of these songs and like show the lyrics on TV, and just some of the graphics that they used were very jarring to me as a child.
Yeah.
It was just like, color changes from like black and white to color. It was very jarring.
And now as an adult, we all learn that those guys weren't satanic people. They were just a gimmick and trying to make money. You know what I mean?
They were getting high in the back room laughing at how silly everybody, or how serious everybody thought they were.
Yeah, they were. And there's always one weirdo in the bunch. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part, it's all gimmicks and shtick and acts. And I remember. I think you remember this too, Sean. But Sean and I worked prior to all this. We worked at a rock station, Mix 106, back in the early 2000s.
This station.
This one is called KEND. This is exact frequency. And there was a band that came to town called Lizzie Borden.
Yep.
And named after the famous axe murdering woman, with the Kilder family. And, go read the story if you're not familiar. And so they came and did this show at the auditorium up here. At the NIMI auditorium. Amphitheater. Thank you. And not the auditorium, amphitheater. Thank you. And so it was an outdoor show, and it was a good.
I still remember the setup. They rolled out the TV that had like the thing through it, and
that's what made me laugh. It almost reminds me a little of Spinal Tap. With with
Tiny Stonehenge.
Yes, yep. I was like, it was with Tiny Stonehenge coming out, but it was this TV, and then they had like somebody in the TV to like look like a poltergeist, coming out of the TV and all. It was kind of cool for its little, but it was just funny. It was like, is this their big pyrotechnic show or whatever they're doing? It was this TV, and all I could think of was Spinal Tap. But the point I'm making is, we interviewed those guys and talked to those guys, and it was funny because we're talking to them, and it's just like normal talking. Hey, oh yeah, I love Rubik's Cube. Just everything you're into. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's pull all our blood on and put our thing in.
It's exactly what Gwar looks like before they get on stage.
And then they get off, and it's like, let's go get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, just dripping in blood, like entrails of a lamb. The drummer is dragging, and they're like, so Sabaro?
Yeah. And to me, I was like, all right, this is how it's going. Because I was like, these guys live this, man? What's going on? And it's really...
What do you do in your off time? I like a nice Earl Grey. Generally an Antiques Roadshow marathon.
Then I read some Chaucer.
Just picture that dude in a sweat. Well, it's exactly what, like when you see Alice Cooper, like in real life.
Yeah.
It's kind of a trip.
Yeah.
Because on stage, he has a whole persona, but dude wears sweater vests, and he's invested, and he's a golfer. He's actually, I think he's a minister.
To be honest, is it Wayne's World 2? The scene where they're meeting
yeah.
Alice Cooper, I believe it's in Wayne's World 2, and Alice Cooper's like, actually, it's a Milwaukee. It's a Native American term. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking, oh, here's Alice, he's going to eat a bat or do something.
Right.
He's like, Milwaukee. That was just, that, to me, that's what the Lizzie Borden experience was like.
Right. Right. We've gone on a path here, but I watched a thing about Dee Snider.
Yes.
He went before Congress to.
I remember that.
Yeah.
This was back when Al Gore's
Yep,
Tipper Gore
during
and
the whole music
parental things on the CDs and all
But he went before Congress in full Twisted Sister regalia, like big hair, ripped jeans, acid wash, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And gave an incredibly well-spoken argument.
He's a very articulate, educated man.
Very well said.
Yeah, and they did not take him seriously, and he went before Congress and just schooled them and blew
also
them away.
pointed out that Tipper Gore was probably a bit of a raunchy young lady herself.
Yeah, he did make some.
She liked to make
statements.
connections that weren't there.
But that kind of all went the way of the dodo after that. I think people were like, all right,
eventually the parental guidance thing was like, oh, we want that.
Yeah, well, it turned into a badge of honor for these, bands like NWA and all that were like making it part of the album cover.
Right.
I'll give you a parental advisor. We'll make it the whole album cover. It's kind of how they did it. It was a badge of honor. But yeah, it's anyway, the Lizzie Borden thing, that was kind of that is, to me, that's the antithesis of what what I sum rock music up to be, and it's kind of well, it's even. Like, I'm a huge Metallica fan. Everyone, I've said this many a time. I've never hidden this fact. That's my band. As far as I'm concerned, do you listen to music? I'm like, no, I listen to Metallica, and that's it. But
and things that are Metallica adjacent.
And exactly. But I when I went to their concert a couple years ago, and Jim Brewer was he's a comedian. He Goat Boy, Half Baked. He's done a bunch of stuff.
Brian from Half Baked.
Yes. He was the opening act. He's a stand-up. And matter of fact, he's got that gig because in part of his bit, he does a whole Metallica and ACD. And so I'm guessing Metallica got wind and they became friends, and now they're, kind of compadres a little bit. Sure. But anyway, I don't know if he does it all the time, but he was opening for Metallica in Lubbock the time I went to see them. And it was kind of funny. He did a whole set about the crowd and like there's, most of you Metallica fans now are sitting up here in the middle because you're in your 40s and 50s, but there's still a few of you down here in the mosh. There's a 7-year-old, he's doing that whole bit. But then he started going into like Metallica's side of it too, and it's like, yeah, you should see their writers now. It's like almonds, things like that. Back in the day, they want these all fifth of tequila. Now it's like almonds and some.
I'd like a nice pH balanced water.
Guava juice.
Tepid water.
So it was kind of funny. He was picking fun a little bit. And it was just, but that reminded me of that. It was.
That's pretty good.
Oh, man. We're supposed to talk with Peggy Bowen.
Yes.
I've not seen her yet.
Miss
So
Peggy.
Let's do this. Let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather and take a break. And we may be chit-chatting a little bit this hour. We'll see what happens. Hey, we'll see what happens. But, you know what I forgot to do? Thank the fine folks at McDonald's. I got to talking about Lizzie Borden and got sidetracked on McDonald's here. Lizzie Borden would eat McDonald's. They're fans, by the way. But I bet they get filet of fish sandwiches. But anyway, swing by any of your McDonald's here. Download the app. Thank you to McDonald's. They provide us delicious breakfast treats every time. Sean had his apple fritter and milk and oatmeal.
It was delightful.
It looked good. You were happy as a clam over there, so you enjoyed it. Good for you. I might nose to the bag here in a little bit. All I've been drinking is my tea. It's a little heartburny this morning for no reason. I don't know why. And I take like Prilosec, so I might have to. I don't know what's going on there.
Might have to change your brand. Go like Prevacid or Tagamet.
Yeah, it could be the other medicines I take. I'm a hot mess. But anyway, it is 18 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you to McDonald's. Swing by any of your McDonald's. Download the app and become a rewards parent. You're going to thank yourself later. You'll thank me too, because you're going to be like, man, I just got a free Big Mac, and it only took like 1-2 trips to the McDonald's, and now I got a free Big Mac coming. So
milk. 3 servings every day.
There you go.
I knocked one out. How's it going?
1 down, 2 to go.
That's right.
Good for you.
I never really struggle to get my milk in, though. I can't imagine that a day goes by when I lack in my dairy consumption.
Well, we're fortunately, we live in an area where we got plenty of it.
It's true.
Dairy capital Southwest
I got
here.
Strong bones.
There you go. That's right. He puts butter in.
That's it.
In his coffee, which I think that's probably a serving of dairy a day, right?
I
would think too, especially when you use a whole stick.
Gotta get weird with it. I use it as a stirrer. It's a frother.
You might even get a couple servings in there now that I think about it. Yeah, but thank you to McDonald's. Yes. We appreciate you. We like it. What's the little heart thing like they do on Masked Singer or The Talk or whatever? But anyway, 8:19. I felt cheaper doing that right now. I really do. Let's just do the weather while I cleanse.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure moving into central New Mexico and a low off to our east, and that means warm downslope wind today. Our afternoon high hitting about 90. Should get plenty of sunshine, and it will be a little bit gusty. Breezy and about 50 for the overnight hours under clear skies. Saturday, slightly cooler. We'll stay in the mid-80s and sunny. Back to the 90s and fair and breezy on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, 61 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 21%. Winds are calm at the moment. We do have a red flag warning that is in effect now through 8 p.m. this evening because it'll be a little breezy today and the humidity's down a bit, and the temps are going to be in the low 90s. So quite the cocktail for some red flag warnings here. Sunny, high of 91 today. Winds will be out of the west, 15 to 20 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight with an overnight low of 50. West winds 15 to 20. They'll drop down 5 to 10 after midnight tonight. Saturday, we'll be in the mid-80s tomorrow under sunny skies with north winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night, mostly clear with an overnight low of 53. Winds out of the south, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Sunday, we'll be back in the low 90s, sunny and 92. Winds will, of course, remain breezy out of the south, 5 to 15. They'll pick up 20 to 25 later in the day on Sunday. Sunday night, mostly clear and breezy with an overnight low of 53. And then we'll be floating around the low 90s for Monday and Tuesday of next week. 92 on Monday, 91 on Tuesday. And then looks like upper 80s to mid 80s for the back half of the week. So we'll see how all that shapes up. All right, it is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're going to take a commercial break. I've not seen Peggy Boland yet join us here. We'll give her a few. We'll tell you about what's going on if she's not here, and then we'll chit-chat about other things. So don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
There's a whole universe out there. Come explore at the International UFO Museum and Research Center, featuring engaging exhibits and in-depth first-hand accounts of the incident that put Roswell on the map. The research library features the most comprehensive collection of UFO research materials in the world, and you can get exclusive one-of-a-kind gifts and merch from the gift shop or online at RoswellUFOmuseum.com. Don't forget about the UFO Festival, July 1st through 3rd, celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Roswell incident. The International UFO Museum and Research Center. It's otherworldly.
For over 40 years, Sierra Blanca Motors here in Roswell have been providing locals with quality vehicles and are committed to providing you quality vehicles and service for many years to come. No sales gimmicks, no inflated pricing, just a quality pre-owned vehicle listed at retail pricing or less. Have a used vehicle to sell? Get top trade-in value or an amazing cash offer today. Let Danny or Jose provide you a great car buying experience. Call 575-622-7907 or stop by Sierra Blanca Motors at 720 South Main Street in Roswell. Se habla español.
For the next few weeks at Country Club Road, we are going to be preaching through the book of James. James is one of those books that is all about practical Christian living. We probably need a reminder of that very subject. God's call to his people is to live their lives in a way that reflects the goodness and righteousness of God. This is seen as we face trials and temptations, which, oddly enough, is James' first paragraph. Let's be honest, sometimes life is hard. When life is hard, how do we survive? How do we keep from going crazy? How do we stay the course? James's answer is odd at first, because he says, consider it all joy when you face trials. We often confuse joy and happiness. We've rarely been happy amid trials and adversity, but I believe we can be joyful. When we're joyful in the midst of the struggles of life, we demonstrate our belief that God has got everything under control and that we just need to trust in Him. This is easier said than done, but His call is to rejoice and to trust. I hope you'll join us as we wrestle with this difficult yet inspiring passage.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Your ride is broke, needs a fix? Come on down, we'll take care of it quick at Big O. Big O Tires. Whatever the problem will ease your fears, we got experience nearly 60 years at Big O. Big O Tires.
With nearly 60 years of experience and high customer ratings, you can always count on your local Big O Tires to give you quality products and trustworthy service, all for a low price. Come in now through May 8th and save between $70 and $100 on select sets of Bridgestone, Firestone, and Pirelli brand tires. Plus, receive free basic installation. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation required. Eligibility may vary. Disposal fees extra and up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted regular retail price not to exceed $35 where permitted. See store for rebate and installation details.
All right, let's get out the old grocery list here. Let's see, eggs, milk, bread, insurance. I don't want to shop for insurance.
Fortunately, you don't have to. George Gandy Insurance is here for you, shopping and comparing rates from different insurance carriers to save you money, time, and hassle. Visit a George Gandy Insurance location near you today.
We keep you covered. George Gandy Insurance.
Whether you're buying or selling, no one likes to be pressured into making a decision. So when Roswell Ford makes an offer to buy your vehicle, you'll have 7 days to think about it. Roswell Ford is always looking for gently used cars and trucks like yours, and we'll make you a cash offer on the spot. It'll probably be more than the other guys, and we'll give you a week to think about it. That's just the way we do business at the Tailgate Nation. So it only makes sense to see us first when you're ready to sell or to buy. Roswell Ford has southeastern New Mexico's largest inventory of nice pre-owned vehicles. Each one has survived a rigorous 139-point inspection, and Roswell Ford gives you a 3-day money-back guarantee. So if you find something you don't like, you can just bring it back. With the days getting longer and summer driving on the horizon, now's the time to start shopping for your next vehicle. So come see us at Roswell Ford, the Tailgate Nation, where we'll always give you time to think about it. 9th and Main.
Oasis Computers has been Roswell's trusted source for home and small business computers for over 30 years, and they continue to be your best resource for computer repairs, operating system upgrades, web root managed antivirus, special orders, and more. Oasis Computers is now open from 8 to 1, Monday through Friday to better serve you. Service calls by appointments and after-hour appointments are available too. Stop by Oasis Computers at 1703 North Garden or call or text 575-625-9141 for even faster service.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 27 minutes after 8 o'clock. Yeah, I got some new ones in the pipeline there. I haven't put all the new ones in, but that one was not one of them. But the one earlier was a new one. I heard it, but I didn't have time to talk about it. I was kind of busy. But I put in a batch of them yesterday. And
did I miss one?
Last hour. The one that played this hour just now was an old one. But
Okay.
The one last hour was a new one. And so there'll be more coming.
Darn it.
I wonder if that's... I'm going to do this just because I want to.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what it does now.
If it'll randomize it.
Yeah, let me see if it...
You should just sweep some of the old ones out.
Yeah,
Most of the old
I'm going to add... I got some more to add. I'm going to replace them. I just haven't finished doing that yet. So we're right in the middle. So let me do this. Let me delete all this, and let's try this again.
We're just programming on the fly here.
Yeah, I'm going to try this again. Let's see what it gives me this time.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact.
The ball on top of a flagpole is called a truck. Mess with your friends today by pointing at a flagpole and say, hey, check out the truck on top of that flagpole. Here's Mike Winters.
All right, I'm going to go direct to one and just give you a sampling.
Just a little taste.
Otherwise, I'll be here all day doing
Because I'm curious.
Let's see. Where are some of those at?
By the way, while Mike's pulling this up, I'd like to take a moment to remind you to download the McDonald's app. Because with the McDonald's app, you get discounts, rewards, and all sorts of amazing deals that you don't get anywhere else. Like right now, I think it's like the last day you can get a 29-cent premium sandwich. I believe it's quarter pounder, Big Mac, or filet of fish when you buy one at regular price. Also, they have of course, the points that you get every single time you use your app, so it encourages you to use it as often as possible. Download the McDonald's app for even more rewards and enjoy McDonald's at any of the 3 locations right here in Roswell.
Oh, it's not playing. Oh, I know.
Their hands stuck.
No.
All right, let's try this again. Here's one.
Yep.
The inventor of Pringles is buried in a Pringles can. I wonder if they got their hands stuck putting them in there. Here's Mike Winters.
Here's one for you.
Well done.
There's a
I
sample.
like that.
There's a sample for you.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
There's more to put in there.
Those are fun sessions, by the way. When we're sitting around, when Mike's sitting around trying to come up
Brainstorming,
with new ones, because we'll have the fact. You know, he'll find like interestingfacts.com or whatever. He'll find the fact, then we'll just sit around. We'll just try to come up with one-liners off of it.
And some are better than others.
Some are better than others, and some of them are not safe for radio.
Yeah, there's some that I really want to do, but
some of them are for us. I really do think
they're more for personal.
At some point, we need to do like an after dark version of this show. We had this idea years ago.
Yeah.
That we were going to do our old morning show from the rock station.
Yeah.
But in a bar
Yeah.
as like a adult version of our show.
Almost like and this predates podcast.
Yeah.
So almost
or like before, like Sirius XM and
a
stuff.
live show podcast. But I still would love to do that.
Absolutely.
If
yes.
I could get an audience that would like to sit here and listen to us be a little blue, I would be okay.
Yeah,
I would love. I would enjoy that.
100%. We wanted to do that for years.
Because I'm not going to lie, both Sean and I, we're dirty boys. We're dirty-minded individuals.
But
we have such huge filters that we use on this show because we're literally not offended. But when it comes to jokes, I mean, I'm offended by things, but when it comes to jokes, it's game on.
Yeah.
And I don't care how dark or twisted you go. If it makes me laugh, it makes me laugh.
Exactly.
And so I don't have that filter. I have the ability to understand humor versus what's real.
Right.
And so I live my whole life, and Sean does this too. We're types of people that will take the dark and try and crack a joke about it. Because, you always...
It's the way I process tragedy.
Yeah. And I've been seeing that Facebook meme float around lately about... I don't care how bad the situation is. I'm always going to crack a little jokey joke. Have you seen that one floating around? We're that guy. That's what we do. And sometimes sometimes it gets the record needle scratch for the whole room. Other times it works.
I unironically said too soon over the last month. At least once.
That's how our brains are wired. And blame God. He gave me this ability, and that's what...
God and a good oldfashioned 80s / early 90s raisin.
And being parked in front of a TV for copious amounts of hours is the other part on that, too. So but yeah, I think if there was an audience that would like to see it, and B, a facility that would allow us to do it, and then we get salespeople to sell it and do all their thing. But I would totally love to have like some Friday night or something, sit at one of these places and just yuck it up and do a blue version of a show. Yeah. Where, would we have guests? Maybe?
I think it'd be interesting to have have the normal guests that we have on, like have Andrea on.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
there's the thing.
That would be a blast.
It's one thing if people are going to think differently of us. I don't know if other people want that out there.
She'd have to sign up for it, but I bet she'd be down. I bet because you got to imagine everybody who's signing up to be an audience member. This understands that. Yeah. It's going to get a little blue.
That's what we just. It's all good fun. Of
course.
But I would totally be down for something like that. If of course, the only stipulation would be It has to be a place where we can serve adult beverages.
Sure. I was going to say they have to name a sandwich
because
after me.
It has to be a place where we can sit around, and and just sit back, have a few, and have a good time. Everybody together, sitting around, having a beer, talking stupid, and when everyone leaves, they say that was a fun night of laughs and entertainment, and that's all. I'd love to do that, And if it's a hit, maybe we do it. Sporadically.
Yeah, knock it out again.
Because I'm guessing it'd be a lot of work for us because we'd have to plan a little bit and
I
cover.
I think the naming of it would be fun. Mornings with Mike Winters. Nights.
Hot nights with mornings with
Mornings
Mike
with Mike Winters after dark. After dark.
Red Shoe Diaries.
Red Shoe Diaries.
There's a whole generation of people like, what?
Uh-huh.
That was Showtime Skinamax of the 80s and 90s.
Coming to you live from the Variety.
Yeah. But Red Shoe Diaries tried to make it a little bit more romantic.
Classy. Yeah.
For the ladies. But it was cheap porn. That's all it was. But I would do that. That would be fun. I've always had that desire to want to do that and just kind of have it and the reason why I know it'll work, because I've seen it work. I've as folks know, I grew up as a radiophile. I listened. So when I was maybe in senior in high school, maybe a smidge older than that, I don't remember. No, it was right after high school because I was a graduate of high school, and I used to listen pretty regularly to the Don and Mike show.
Right.
And at the time, they were on in the afternoons. They used to be on in the mornings, and then the station they're on blew up, and then Howard Stern moved to town, and then there was a WJFK, which was the DC talk station, and they put Stern on in the mornings, and G. Gordon. I've talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
G. Gordon. But Don and Mike was their afternoon guys. They were on from like 3 to 6 or 7. And they were having like a 10th or 15th anniversary show, and they did it at on the campus of GW at their Lisner Auditorium, which is in heart of DC. It's a big auditorium there on the campus of GW University. So I actually won tickets to the show.
Really?
I said, be caller, whatever it is, 10 or whatever. And I called in, and sure enough, I won a pair of tickets to the show. So I got a friend of mine, still one of my best friends this day, Mr. Jay Ward. Him and I trucked it into the DC and went and saw the show live. And basically it was us and, I don't know, however many people that arena held 500,000. I have no idea what it was. It was a good size arena auditorium. And they did the show. They had a couple tables. They had their news guy. They had their producer. They had the two, Don and Mike, and they literally did the show like right there on the stage with everybody. The only difference was that was a radio show, so they had to keep it a little less blue. I mean, there was a lot of blue going on. Maybe not so much on the mic, but in the audience and what people were.
The delay button was getting used probably a lot.
A little bit, I'm guessing. And of course they had their version of Whack Packers too.
Oh yeah.
So they had some of those there that kind of hung out. And you got to meet and greet and people you hear on the radio all the time. So I would love that concept, but to do it off air as a one-off show at night would be great.
I've just found that the best radio shows in general in history are just they just feel like hangs. And that's really what a good bar show would be is just a hang. Like you just hear it's kind of like you're sitting next to a table of people who are having a very interesting conversation. You just kind of want to listen in and be a part of it.
Right. It's kind of like podcasting, but most podcasters don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And I'm not trying to sound negative here, trying to sound like I'm talking down to everybody, but if you notice, the most successful podcasts and the things that are on there, all of them come from a radio background of some kind. They all have you from your Joe Rogans to
Mark Maron.
Yeah, what's his name? The Man Show guy. Not Kimmel. The other Man Show guy.
Adam Carolla.
Carolla, thank you. All those guys, all were radio guys, and so they're the best because they have a bit of a radio structure to it, a flow, and everything. So they know how to produce a show.
Sure.
Whereas a lot of podcasters like, oh, we're just going to talk about stuff randomly for an hour and then leave. And only certain people can do that. There's not a lot of people that can pull that off. You got to have some agenda or something. Even like I'm very off the cuff, but still in my head, I've got this. I want to cover at some point during the day, and how I do it in what order. That's where I'm a little free flowing, but. For the most part, I do have a clock in my head of how I want things to happen on this show. Now, there's times like this where we miss a guest or something, and they didn't come in.
Things get a little free,
and we get a little free, and I love that too. That's part of this show as much of that as well. And so, I'm a guy that you need the structure to do the show right, or it's going to be a hot mess.
Absolutely,
but you need that natural ability to let the moment happen in the said show as well too. And that's where podcasters don't get it, and the radio guys that are now podcasters do. They know when to, all right, we got to structure this up, or you know what, let's loosen the reins and let this see where it goes.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between someone who knows what they're doing and someone who's just trying to, fake it till you make it.
Who could dad the situation versus, just kind of flow in the situation.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I don't know what that is. I will. That's something not related to the show. Well, see, a lot of times I get texts related to the show, so I look, and then it's like, no, that's not show related. So
I actually got one yesterday that was show related. I didn't even get to shout it out. Bill Adams texted me yesterday because we were talking about Mickey D's breakfast. Actually, steak, egg, and cheese bagel is a back east thing for Mickey D's, just like in Hawaii, McDonald's has a spam and egg McMuffin.
I would argue yes, because that's where I had it, but they're not all back east anymore. Like if I go to McDonald's back now where my family is, they don't have the bagels.
Right. And they had them here for a while too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's maybe East Coast, but it's like
maybe not
very
here, but I remember them in
East Coast.
Oklahoma.
Unless it's maybe New England or down south. I could see New England, because that's kind of bagel city, because for those that don't know, bagels are a Jewish fare. They come, and so a lot of people had them out of delicatessens and stuff in New York City, which means I'm guessing if any place is going to keep them, it's up New England area. So I know for a fact in Maryland they got rid of them. I was upset. The other one I got upset about was the steak biscuit.
Yeah.
And I was in high school. All right, kids, do not do what I just did, what I'm about to tell you here. But in high school, we didn't have an open campus lunch. You had to sneak off. And I've told this story before, but my car was on the teacher side because I wasn't qualified enough to get a parking permit.
Right.
Because I wasn't active in school activities enough because I played hockey and did things that I didn't want to be class president or in the glee club or any of that mess. So I didn't get a parking space. However, my buddy, matter of fact, the twin, the guy I was talking about earlier, he is more active in school, and he was actually our class president and everything.
He got the space.
He got the space, but his parents wouldn't let him a car or anything. So he gave me the space.
But you had to drive him to school.
Actually, I had to drive his twin sister, Crystal, to school. That was he would usually, occasionally him, but mostly his twin sister. And then, of course, Dave and R, but they were all part of the same circle. So we're all the same circle of friends. So his sister was in the circle, sort of. Like sometimes, but then she'd go off and hang out with her girlfriends when we get to guy. But anyway, you know what I mean?
At any point in time, she's looking at Sister Crystal, oh, the time has come.
But so at lunchtime, while all the teachers were casing the student parking lot, I could sneak out and sneak back in. We only had 30 minutes for lunch.
Right.
And at the time I was driving, it's high school.
Yeah.
Ain't no one driving, except for the one rich kid's parents that give him a Corvette or something.
Oh, yeah, but
for the most part, we're all driving pieces
beaters.
of junk or your parents' car. Well, I was driving a Pontiac 2000 that had a starter issue. And so I had to before to get it to crank. And so there was many a time I'm like, come on, come on, come on.
You could feel the teachers approaching.
And then we got her going. But we used to go to the McDonald's every day because it was near the school. And we only had 30 minutes.
Right.
And so I had enough time to get my steak biscuit, a drink, and a hash brown because we went to lunch at earlier 10 o'clock in the morning. So it was still breakfast time. And so I had every day for darn near a hunk of my junior and senior years, I had a steak biscuit and a hash brown and a Coke. And then when it wasn't that, we'd make it to the Wendy's and I get a junior cheeseburger.
Nice.
Frosty and a fry there.
Nice. But yeah, I know steak prices are up, so the idea of seeing steak on a McDonald's breakfast menu anytime soon I know. It's a tough sell, but you should bring it back.
And the steak biscuit steak wasn't it was more like country fried steak. It was like a country fried Salisbury steak.
Right.
It wasn't even like steak. It was like it had that almost ground chuck beef consistency to it with a layer of fry on it.
I'll tell you what it is. And I don't know if it's the same kind of steak.
Yeah.
But there's a place here in town. There's a Mexican restaurant here in town. They have a plate called the Tampiqueña.
Okay.
And it comes with a steak.
Okay.
And that steak is, I can only imagine, the cheapest possible cut of meat.
Is it like a thin skirt steak
It's
or
like
something?
like a very thin skirt steak.
Yeah.
But it is incredible. It is literally like my favorite steak in town.
I've had some of those where it's a lesser cut, but it's cut thin, and it's very tasty usually.
That steak, that kind of steak is what we should, I like to see it at a McDonald's.
I just want to take that steak and put it on sandwiches.
Right?
To me, that's the kind
I
of
almost
steak
want to just go get some of that and just take it with me to my local McDonald's.
There you go.
Give me a biscuit. I'm going to steak up my own biscuit.
Steak myself.
I'm going to steak myself.
But, I do. And I would love to have the bagel. And you know what? They had a ham, egg, and cheese one, and a sauce, egg, and cheese, and I think a bacon, egg, and cheese, and they were all fine.
Yeah.
But it was the big steakin'. That was the one I went to every time because it was unique, and I can get bacon. I love bacon. I will never poo-poo on the bacon.
Well, you should. That's a bad thing to do for your bacon anyways.
But if they're offering me steak, I'm going steak.
Gotta go steak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. It's like saying, you got crab or you got these popcorn shrimp. What do you want? I want the crab. I don't want no popcorn shrimp. Popcorn shrimp's barely seafood. That was the stuff they let me have as a little kid when they never had me nothing else. We go to the seafood house and they're like, Mom's got crab and these giant jumbo shrimps. And like, here, little Mike, you can have these sad little popcorn shrimp that have about as much shrimp in as your chicken nuggets do.
I'll be honest with you. I really want some shrimp right now. Because when you said it, that got me thinking about the last time I had real good shrimp, and it was on a shrimp po' boy, and it was
quite delightful.
It was real good, man.
Nice. I'm getting everybody turned on to seafood
Needs
today.
me some scrimps.
Yeah. Well, see, seafood's my one seat.
Yeah,
I grew
totally
up on it, and I will sit and eat crabs any day of the week and twice on Sunday, and I'll take it anytime. Like my wife and many folks around here feel that way about Mexican food. Like my wife's like, I can eat Mexican food any day, all day, and I'm like, no, I
for
cannot
part
do
of the
that.
day because you're going to be bloated and gassy for the rest of it.
Well, I'm like, no, that's not me. I love Mexican food, but I can't eat it every day, all day. I gotta have.
But
break it up.
seafood's different.
But
Seafood's
seafood, I'll do
light
that.
enough to where I think that I could honestly and there's enough variety in it.
Sure. And I like almost all seafoods. There's only a couple things I don't mess with. One is raw squid.
I've had it once.
Cooked squid, delightful. Raw squid, nah.
Raw squid's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just it has to be.
Well, raw,
correctly.
I didn't like it. I tried it like a sushi deal, and the other one I tried sushi style that I didn't like was octopus.
Okay.
Loved it cooked. Like I've had it over at up the street here. Antigua's, thank you. My brain's just skipping names here. I've had the Antigua's octopus 2 or 3 times. Sure. Love it. Delicious. But you put it in raw form, no, not touching it. No. But other than that, I'm pretty good. And oysters. I love oysters in any way but raw.
I
can't steam them, fry them, but you put them raw on the half shell, I'm out.
I'm not crazy about raw either.
And I know people are like, well, I had hot sauce. I'm like, I know, but if I got to add that much hot sauce to get it down, and to be honest, I can get the same experience by having a cold and swallowing a loogie, because quite frankly,
you're not wrong.
That's what eating raw oysters feels like to me.
And there goes my want to eat shrimp. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You giveth and you taketh away.
Back to steak. But any other form, I love it. You steam them, you fry them, you bake them, whatever you do to them, I will eat them other than cutting them open and serving them raw. That's the one thing I don't mess with.
Yeah, there's very few things I don't do seafood wise.
Yeah.
Not super. I mean, even with sushi, I'll try pretty much all.
See,
of
I
it.
like it, and that's just it. I like sashimi and salmon and tuna and all that. Raw, great, fine, no problems. But squid, octopus, and oysters. Those are the 3 things I don't like raw. I've had them and I don't like them. So, especially sometimes when the oysters got a little bit of sea in it.
Yeah, that's a little off. Look, it's just some sea. It's some salt for you.
Yeah.
No, that's.
But
that's
when I
just
get
gross.
the mustard and the crab, I'm okay with that.
Bro, dude.
I'm okay with the crab mustard
Yeah,
because
I bet.
that's all right. I'm even okay with the turd line in the shrimp.
Yeah.
I don't care about. I'm not going to pick that out. I'll just if it's gone, then great. If it's there, it's going to be recycled. That's how I roll.
I gotta respect that both of us walked by saying sushi and sashimi without going shusis and sashimis.
You know what? We deserve a medal for that we kept it. We kept it not inside baseball there by doing that. So, but yeah, I was tempted to go sashimis.
Sashimis.
You know what it is? I haven't seen a good Letterkenny in a while, so I'm kind of. It's kind of taking a back seat of the brain a little bit. But as soon as Shorzy comes out,
I believe it's May.
Okay,
May 15th
I'm going to be
or something.
right back to that. And be doing it. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, go get Hulu and you'll find it. It's
Go find Letterkenny. Thank us later.
Go recommend. Go.
It's becoming a lot more mainstream. A lot more people are finding it and talking about it.
I'd like to say it's our doing.
Yeah, one by one.
6 people in Roswell now like that show because of us.
Hey, we're making a difference.
That's right.
We're gonna get a tour stop here.
There you go. And then we're gonna start a hockey team.
They're actually on tour right now.
Are they?
Yeah, like somewhere.
They do stand up or they do the bits. What do they do?
It's just a variety show. So it's like the
kind of like
guys,
Jay and Silent Bob's deal, or
kind of
Okay.
Or like I think the Trailer Park Boys do shows very similar to this, where they just do bits. They'll have Squirrely Dan will come out and talk, or they'll have the guys just standing around shooting.
Well, that might be fun to watch because I'm sure there's a lot of outtakes, which we've seen, but some of their dialogue's quite complex to get right.
It really, really is.
So to see them do it in a live form, that might be interesting to see.
Yeah.
To see if they can do it.
To see how true to life they keep it, or if they
because there's a cadence to it. There's not only a cadence, but it's smartly pretty witty. And if you don't do it to that cadence, it loses something.
Right.
So I'm very curious. I would be curious to see how they do
Jonesy
it
and
live.
Riley specifically,
Yeah.
because they mess up a lot.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if they can do it in that form without having to retake or reshoot. Because let's face it, the dialogue that they do is probably very difficult to say sometimes. And granted, they're all Canadians, and so there's the accent and all that. But they talk so fast, and they talk especially when they're getting onto somebody, it's just it's like a staccato. You so blah blah blah. You so blah blah blah.
We should be ripping. We should be ripping.
Yeah.
Yep.
And imagine that's pretty difficult to act when you're not just in the moment doing.
Oh, yeah.
it. So anyway,
I would definitely be interested to check that out.
I would too. I would like to check that out. It is 8:50. Let's go ahead and pause for some news. Commercial break as well. Maybe one of the new liners will pop up. I have no promises or guarantees. We'll see what happens. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Sorello. An Artesia man is facing spending the next 43 years behind bars. A Chavez County jury found 45-year-old Edward Bingham guilty of 4 counts of child sexual exploitation. The New Mexico AG's office says Bingham's case alleges he had sexual relations with a 14-year-old girl. He was arrested in May of 2018 with the girl in his car at a vacant lot near the Roswell International Air Center. The cannabis industry is growing in Eddy County as the state has issued more licenses for retail pot outlets. 8 licenses were approved for retail stores, cannabis micro businesses, producers, or manufacturers within Carlsbad city limits on Friday. About 15 producers and 10 other businesses submitted applications. The Cannabis Regulation Act passed by the New Mexico legislature and signed by Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure moving into central New Mexico and a low off to our east, and that means warm downslope wind today. Our afternoon high hitting about 90. Should get plenty of sunshine, and it will be a little bit gusty. Breezy and about 50 for the overnight hours under clear skies. Saturday, slightly cooler. We'll stay in the mid-80s and sunny. Back to the 90s and fair and breezy on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the SRN News Business Brief, I'm Ron DeRockstra. Elon Musk sold more than 4 million shares of Tesla stock, worth roughly $4 billion, most likely to help fund his $44 billion purchase of Twitter. Amazon reported its first quarterly loss since 2015. Its money-making juggernaut stalled by a slowdown in a pandemic-induced online shopping and a huge write-down of its investment in an electric vehicle startup. Apple reporting strong quarterly results despite supply shortages, but warning its growth slowdown is likely to deepen. And California and 15 other states want the U.S. Postal Service to buy electric-powered delivery vehicles. They're suing to halt the purchases of thousands of gas-powered trucks for the fleet. Wall Street Dow futures down 87 points. The Nasdaq's off by 122. The S&P 500 is 25 points lower. With SRN News Business Brief.
Hunting season's here again, and LGS Guns and Ammo is stocked up for your next hunt with everything you need. The draw results for New Mexico are in. Put that hunting, fishing, or trapping license of yours to good use and get to LGS Guns and Ammo for the hunting gear you need. Rifles, ammo, scopes, optics, binoculars, and so much more. From brands you know, like Ruger, Sulking, Vortex, and Burris Optics. Right now, take 10% off all firearms, 15% off accessories, and 15% off all Liberty safes. Do hunting season right with LGS Guns and Ammo across from Target in Roswell and at 109 North El Paso in Hobbs.
Wakefield Oil Express has the highest quality service in Roswell with a 17-point full-service oil change that includes a full wash and vacuum at their car wash. You won't find a better deal. They also offer full synthetic oil changes, fuel and cabin filter replacements, and will even check your battery. Their tunnel wash isn't afraid of dirty vehicles. They have the best value wash in town with free vacuums. They even offer wash passes that can be used for multiple vehicles. Next time you need your oil changed, go to the fast and efficient Wakefield Oil Express and let them earn your business. 3204 North Main, Roswell.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Slugs have 4 noses, but no fingers to pick them. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 8:55. Stay tuned. Next hour, we're going to replay an interview we had yesterday, about 9:15 or so, with pastors Mark Green and Joel Wood, talking Harvest Ministries, Homeless Coalition, and also National Day of Prayer, which is happening on the 5th next week, 12 noon on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn. So we're going to play that conversation for you next hour. Hey, I just saw online a few minutes ago, Ford Motor Company is recalling more than a 250,000 Ford Explorer SUVs in the U.S. because they can roll away unexpectedly while shifted into park. I know there's a lot of people that own Ford Explorers here. The recall covers certain 2020 through 2022 Ford Explorers with 2.3-liter engines, as well as the 3-liter and the 3.3-liter hybrids, and the 3-liter ST. Also included are 2020 and 2021 Explorer Police hybrids and those with the 3.3-liter gas engines. Documents posted Friday by the U.S. safety regulators say that the rear axle mounting bolt can fracture and cause the drive shaft to disconnect. If this happens, the SUVs can roll away even if they're placed in the park gear without parking brake on. The document says Ford has 235 warranty claims due to the problem. The company says it knows no crashes or injuries. None of that's happened. Good news there. Depending on the model, dealers will replace a bushing and the axle cover, or they will update the electronic parking brake software. Owners will be notified by mail if your vehicle is under this recall beginning June 6th. So if you're a Ford Explorer owner, mainly between Explorers between the year 2020 and 22, you might be one of those under that model. So wait for your deal to come in the mail, or of course you can probably swing on by Roswell Ford and they'll be able to tell you if your vehicle falls under that recall or not. But just want to put that out there for folks this morning. Other thing I wanted to mention, what was it there? I got sidetracked on a couple things. So Coming up here on May 14th, Bob Power, they've got another dance going on. It's going to be happening at Westminster Presbyterian Church. It's going to be a dance featuring the music of Cibolo Springs. Again, that'll be the 14th of May from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and at Westminster Presbyterian Church, 2801 West 4th Street. It's going to be there in the Fellowship Hall. Dance to Cindy Richardson's 50s and 60s rock and roll. Or Marvin Roberts going to be doing some custom, some country western. Refreshments will be served as well. Call Tom Blake or Bob Power for more information. You can reach Tom at 575-622-2801 or Bob Power at 575-910-4648. But mark that down in your calendars for May 14th. There at Westminster Presbyterian Church. Also, don't forget Cinco de Mayo weekend is next weekend, May 6th and 7th, noon to 10 on the 6th, 10 to 10 on the 7th. All of it's going to be happening on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn. They're going to have DJ music, folklorico dancers, of course, the taco and jalapeno eating contest, live music, including country, tejano, norteño, and cumbia. Multiple food vendors, community and informational booths, fun children's activities, and more. Again, that's going to be next Friday and Saturday, May 6th and 7th on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn, beginning noon on Friday till 10 p.m. and then 10 to 10 on Saturday. All right, Town Hall News up next.
Your home for Sean Hannity in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. Indonesia's President Joko Widodo says both Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to attend the G20 summit to be held in Bali in November. Widodo, the current chair of the G20 group, said he urged both leaders of Ukraine and Russia to end the war through negotiations. The U.S. House gave final passage to legislation streamlining a World War II-era military Lend-Lease program. Republican Representative French Hill of Arkansas says the revival of the program sends a powerful message.
Winston Churchill thought up the idea of Lend-Lease. He talked to his essential partner in the very special transatlantic relationship, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, into this concept. Roosevelt sold it to the Congress, and it is a real moment in history that we are back on this House floor supporting Lend-Lease.
The program would more quickly provide Ukraine and other Eastern European countries with American equipment to fight the Russian invasion. Fire behavior specialist Stuart Turner says conditions for growth at the Hermit's Peak and Calf Canyon wildfires outside Las Vegas, New Mexico, are extraordinary.
So we have open fire line. We have winds coming in, 33 gusting to 50, minimum humidity of 7%, fine dead fuels of 2. I mean, I can't imagine a worse day.
A Taliban spokesman says a powerful explosion at a Sunni mosque in Kabul has killed at least 10 worshippers and wounded 20. The blast struck as hundreds had gathered at the mosque on the last Friday of Ramadan. On Wall Street, the Dow is off 387 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
There has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud.
The 2020 elections were one of the most corrupt in history. See the proof for yourself.
We tracked 2,000 mules making multiple ballot drops.
2,000 Mules, the shocking new movie from Dinesh D'Souza.
One mule made 53 trips to 20 drop boxes.
2,000 Mules, in theaters 2 nights only, May 2nd and May 4th, with a special virtual premiere, May 7th. Tickets available only at 2000mules.com. 2000mules.com.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg says Finland and Sweden would be embraced with open arms should they decide to join the 30-nation military organization and could become members quite quickly. Stoltenberg says NATO will provide more assistance to Ukraine in the fight against the Russian invasion.
Up to date, NATO allies have pledged and provided at least $8 billion US in military support to Ukraine, and we see the importance of further stepping up our support to Ukraine.
India is in the throes of a record-shattering heat wave that is stunting wheat production. Lower yields likely mean the government will buy less wheat for its reserves this year than last. India had been hoping to plug shortfalls due to Russia's war in Ukraine and find new markets to export its grain to Africa, Europe, and Asia. News and analysis at townhall.com. South Korea relaxes its outdoor mask mandate as COVID-19 cases steadily fall.
Starting Monday, people will only be required to wear a mask outdoors when participating in gatherings of more than 50 people or attending events with large crowds. Health authorities say the mask mandate for indoors and public transport will remain in place. In mid-March, South Korea was at the height of an Omicron variant surge, reporting hundreds of thousands of daily cases. Now, less than 30% of the country's intensive care units are occupied. But President-elect Yoon Suk-yeol, who takes office on May 10th, raised concern over the mask mandate rule, saying the move could be premature. I'm Naomi Shannon.
Kansas is moving to phase out the nation's second highest state sales tax on groceries. The House voted on Thursday to approve the GOP's tax cut proposal. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. It on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres Inviernos.
Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Friday, everybody.
I just came across something that it just made me, I just was scrolling on Facebook and it made me laugh out loud.
Yeah?
It just said, Jake Paul, you don't know me, but I've been in a wheelchair most of my life, and today I stood up for the first time just to turn your music off.
Wow. That's a blessing,
miracles
right?
happen, man.
It's a miracle.
Team 10 did it.
Even with bad music.
It's every day, yo.
Whatever motivates.
Every day, bro.
Well, excuse me. Pick up there.
It was just kind of completely off this, out of left field.
It's
thing.
funny.
It just made me laugh.
It is. I do that too. I'll be scrolling through some random, and all of a sudden, out of left field. And it's not even that funny sometimes.
Right.
It's just it hit me a certain way, and I'm like, ha! And then I say it out loud, I'm like, it was better in my head.
Yeah. There was another one, too, that was like, I know he won't, but part of me wants Johnny Depp's legal team to ask Elon Musk about the injuries on his face when he was dating Amber Heard.
Yeah, there's some scuttlebutt going on there.
There was some scarring on a couple pictures I saw, some like redness on his face, literally on the side that she was on.
You never know.
You'd think if put her on the other side, dude.
The more it's coming out, the more she's sounding less and less, making Johnny Depp look less and less crazy, if that's possible. Or equally as crazy. I'm not sure which way you.
It takes a lot to make Johnny Depp not look as eccentric, we'll call it, as Johnny Depp.
That's because he's
is.
rich. He's eccentric.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're poor, you're just crazy. That's the rule.
Well, that's not necessarily true because Amber Heard is rich. And she's crazy. She's just crazy. Turns out the difference is you poop in somebody's bed.
Well,
that's the line.
Until a court determines she's just eccentric.
Sorry. Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's Kenny.
Yeah, we got to stop. We're alienating our audience minute by minute.
Happy Friday.
Yes.
Thank you to McDonald's. They make it as much a happy Friday as any other world we have here. Come by. Swing by any of your McDonald's here today. Get you what's kind of some of their, do you know off the top of your head what's some of their specials right now?
Well, they're doing the spicy nuggets.
Yeah, spicy nugget season.
I think today is the last day to get the, let me check on the app. I think today is the last day to get the 29-cent buy one get one premium sandwich.
Okay.
Let me pull
I saw that a few days ago on there.
Yeah, let me pull up my app because I think it's either yesterday or today, but let me check for sure.
And you can buy like a quarter pounder or a Big Mac or any of the premium sandwiches.
The spicy nuggets are available. I did check. They don't have the mighty hot sauce currently.
Okay.
They have not. Okay, yep. Today is looks like today is the I have 3,000 points. Today is the final day. Or no, two more days for the 29-cent quarter pounder with cheese, Big Mac, or filet of fish. Buy one, get one for 29 cents.
Nice.
Same thing with the double cheeseburger or the 6-piece chicken nuggets. Buy one, get one for 29 cents. Currently at breakfast, they have their $1 breakfast sandwich, which expires today. Lunch, you get a free large fry with any purchase or a free any size McCafe beverage with any purchase.
Nice. Since they don't have the mighty sauce right now, might I offer a alternative?
Okay.
I had this the other day, and I enjoyed it because I accidentally got spicy nugs. I ordered nugs, and it was before I realized they had spicy nugs.
Right.
Like it was, I got nugs, and then they were spicy. I'm like, and I ate one. I'm like, this tastes like a spicy nug, and then sure enough, it was. But I dipped it in the hot mustard, and the hot mustard with the spicy nugs is good. I don't know if you want to eat all 10 nugs with it.
Sure.
Maybe I pair it with a sweet and sour myself.
You know what I like? What I would suggest, and this is something you'd have to go out of pocket for. Get yourself a nice, and they're a couple bucks, decent sized bottle of Frank's wing sauce, not the hot sauce, their wing sauce.
Okay.
Then you just give your nugs a good sauce and toss.
Okay. So if you're at home,
yeah, take them home, throw them in a bowl, pour a little of the wing sauce on there, give them a good sauce and toss. That is the best way to have yourself a spicy nug experience. It's real good.
Try that time. But if that's not available to you,
yeah,
the hot mustard's a good one because it's got a little tang. Because the hot mustard's got a little of that tang to it.
I would
pairs nicely
argue
with it.
The spicy nug would probably pair well with honey.
I bet you're right.
I bet it would.
I
a
bet
little bit
it
of that
would
sweet, a
too.
little bit of that heat.
Yeah, I usually get the sweet and sour, and that in essence does the same thing. But I think the honey would be a nice addition. Matter of fact, my wife's go-to dip
is the honey.
Yeah,
that's actually what made me think of it.
Yeah, she goes to honey. That's her. Because I'm.
And honey nugs are not bad. They are not bad at all.
I've had them. They're delicious. They're tasty. But swing by any of your McDonald's and take advantage of these deals. Don't get that app. Download it. Start using the rewards program. You're going to really save yourself some money in the long run by doing that. So,
plus, every time you get more points, it bursts little McDonald's logos on your screen. It's a little dopamine hit. You're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, look at that. I'm doing well. I'm scoring. Yeah, it's nice. But thank you to McDonald's. And appreciate them supporting our show all this time. We're going to play our interview we had yesterday with Mark Green, Pastors Mark Green and Pastor Joel Wood. They joined us yesterday, and we talked updates for Harvest Ministry, updates for the Homeless Coalition, and want to invite everyone out to National Day of Prayer, which is next week, the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Next, I think it's, Thursday or Wednesday? What day is Cinco de Mayo? I got to look. It is the Thursday, the 5th. That's what it is. Thursday, the 5th. It'll be out on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn beginning at noon. So we're going to play that interview for you here in just a few. Before we do that, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure moving into central New Mexico and a low off to our east, and that means warm downslope wind today. Our afternoon high hitting about 90. Should get plenty of sunshine, and it will be a little bit gusty. Breezy and about 50 for the overnight hours under clear skies. Saturday, slightly cooler. We'll stay in the mid-80s and sunny, back to the 90s and fair and breezy on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 69 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 16%. Winds are out of the north at 3 miles per hour. We do have a red flag warning. That's in effect right now and remain in effect through 8 p.m. this evening. That's because that humidity is going to be dropping more and the temps are going to go up and it's going to be a little breezy, which is that recipe for fire. So be careful, just like you do every day right now, because every day seems to be in a red flag warning. Today, sunny skies, 91 for a high, west winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, looking at an overnight low of 50, west winds 15 to 20, dropping down 5 to 10 after midnight tonight. Then for your weekend, sunny and 84 for you Saturday. Winds will be out of the north, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tomorrow night with an overnight low of 53. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. For you Sunday, mostly sunny, highs around 92. Winds will be breezy out of the south, 5 to 15, picking up 15 to 25 later in the day. Sunday night will be breezy as well and mostly clear with an overnight low of 53. And then when you head back to work and school Monday, things will be sunny, highs right around 92. And looks like we'll be 91 on Tuesday and then dropping down to mid-upper 80s for around midweek next week. All right, it is 9:14. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we're going to play our interview with Pastors Mark Green and Joel Wood, talking Harvest Ministries, Homeless Coalition, and National Day of Prayer. That's on the other side. Don't go away.
Buying a sewing machine from a big box store or online might seem like a bargain, but in this case, you really do get what you pay for. Just the machine. No lessons, no help with figuring out why it isn't working the way you expect, and no one close to fix it. Buying locally from an authorized retailer may cost a little more, but in the end, it will save you time, money, and aggravation. Come see me, Chris Ann, at So Easy Sewing, 200 East College Boulevard in Roswell, and let me show you why it pays to shop local. So Easy Sewing. You've never had it so easy.
Whether you're buying or selling, no one likes to be pressured into making a decision. So when Roswell Ford makes an offer to buy your vehicle, you'll have 7 days to think about it. Roswell Ford is always looking for gently used cars and trucks like yours, and we'll make you a cash offer on the spot. It'll probably be more than the other guys, and we'll give you a week to think about it. That's just the way we do business at the Tailgate Nation. So it only makes sense to see us first when you're ready to sell or to buy. Roswell Ford has southeastern New Mexico's largest inventory of nice pre-owned vehicles. Each one has survived a rigorous 139-point inspection, and Roswell Ford gives you a 3-day money-back guarantee. So if you find something you don't like, you can just bring it back. With the days getting longer and summer driving on the horizon, now's the time to start shopping for your next vehicle. So come see us at Roswell Ford, the Tailgate Nation, where we'll always give you time to think about it. 9th and Main.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Sigmund Freud once believed that cocaine could be used to help treat a morphine addiction. Mike used bacon to get over his addiction to beef. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us in studio this morning, Pastor Mark Green here with Harvest Ministries, Homeless Coalition, anything else. Joel Wood also with that, and Waymaker Church as well, of course. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
How's everything going today?
Doing great. It's going good. It's early.
It is early. That's right. You guys probably start your day about 8 or so, and then get to going. Yeah. But they're here a lot later too. They're there in the later in the night taking care of people. So, but a lot of stuff going on here. Before we kind of talk about some events coming up here, let's kind of get some updates here. Of course, for folks that aren't familiar, I would argue one of the organizations that probably does the most for not only people in our community, but helping other organizations help other people, help people in our community. Harvest Ministries, you guys have that organization started from the ground up and is now
I don't know how Roswell would be able to do what it does without Harvest Ministries kind of being the spearhead for a lot of that stuff. But Harvest Ministries really is probably one of, if not one of the most biggest organizations here in town that's really just helping people really meet any need. They're homeless or if they need a food or guidance, you guys put them in the right direction there. That's kind of what they do. So how are things there at Harvest Ministries?
Things are going great. They really are. We are staying really busy, and along with what you said right there, I had met somebody in Home Depot day before yesterday. We were both buying paint for our houses, and he asked me how things were going. I told him good and busy, and I said there's no shortage of hungry people or homeless people or people in need. And he actually said, I think that not only do people need Harvest Ministries for their needs, but he said we need Harvest Ministries because we need to have a place where we can go and serve.
Yeah.
And it's good for both of us. It's good for all of us, And someone just this morning, someone said, I love what you guys do. And I said, well, the good thing is we love what we do too. We love being a part of this.
Well,
we love, we get every day I get to go to work and love people and love God. What's better than that?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not an easy job or by any stretch of the imagination because, you see hard stuff. You see folks in tough situations, and some don't necessarily want to come out of those situations, and you just kind of got to love them until they're ready to make that choice. But
a lot of them can't. They're not in a position to even make that, that decision to get out of where they are.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people that they either have emotional needs, mental struggles, and all PTSD and all kinds of things, and maybe addictions, and they can't even pull themselves out. So that's why we're there to try to point them in the right direction, get them the kind of help that they can have.
Sure.
So we hope for today, healing for tomorrow. That's our motto.
Well, I'm guessing just from my experience, things, and obviously talking to a lot of folks and things. When it comes to helping folks like that, it literally is like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And it's
exactly
with folks like that, it literally is like, okay, let's start step one. Let's get you a place to sleep. Step two, let's get you an address. You know what I mean? And
sure.
Once you meet one of those goals, it makes it a little easier to get to the next goal. And really, it's just a series of those little steps. Let's get them that next step, and then before you know it, they're closer to the life they hope to be and farther away from the life they were. And
a lot of them, actually, they're close. I would say they're closer to the life they never hoped, or they'd given up hope.
Yeah.
They never thought would be for them. And so, to get them food for today. They're hungry today, and get them a place to stay. Help them get an ID. Because without an ID, they can't get a
function
job,
in this world.
Can't get an apartment. Can't pretty much do anything. And that's not an easy process these days. That's a difficult process. So those kind of things, to get, like you said, one step at a time. And for some of them, they're always going to need help. A lot of others, once you get them on their feet and get them back to remembering what a normal life is like,
sure,
they never want to go back to it.
Sure.
So,
and like you said, it's rife with PTSD, mental health, those things. So. And it may be in some of these cases, depending on how they were raised and things, they have no semblance of a regular life because all they know is what they know. And if it's abuse and neglect or whatever the situation was, and to be honest, they probably got very good at being where they're at now because all those I know enough to know that people like domestic violence victims, PTSD, folks that have dealt with trauma. Their defense is to build up walls to kind of shelter themselves, shun themselves away from others to prevent others from doing that to them. And so I would guess your biggest obstacle for Harvest and the Homeless Coalition, obviously, here is to chip away at that wall a little bit, just trying to get them to trust you.
Yeah.
And once that happens, then it's a little easier. But till you get to that point, it could be some work.
Sure. So we, every morning we feed breakfast to the homeless or anybody who's hungry and wants to come eat breakfast. So it's just like a continental breakfast.
Yeah.
A hot sandwich and coffee and tea, hot chocolate, cereal, pastries, fruit, that sort of things. But what we do is we go out there. I go out every morning when I get there, go out and visit with them and just ask them what's going on. They got a new dog. They,
catch up on life a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for some of them, they won't talk to you at all. Some of them, they'll just grunt and look at you and turn away. But little by little, you you start breaking down.
The next day they might give you a wave or a nod.
Exactly.
And
You
then,
break down those walls, and after a while, you're on a kind of a friend-to-friend basis, and they'll start pouring their heart out to you, and you get to really minister to them where they are, and then finally get them to the place where they're willing to get help.
Yeah.
Because like you said, a lot of them put up walls, and they're not going to let anybody in. And
well, I imagine you build that trust. Like their first day, they're saying, "All right, why is this guy coming here? What's his agenda?" And then after a while, they're like, "Why is this guy still coming?" And then he's saying, "This guy must be crazy coming every day. Let me see what's going on." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is probably the mindset that they're going through. And then finally, they say, "Okay." They get from, all right, maybe this guy really is here to help. He's been showing up every day for the last month, and really at the end of the day hasn't tried to kick me off or do anything other than ask how I'm doing, and so that's kind of how you wear them down a little bit.
But when you think about it, though, in the context of all of us, I think a lot of times we look at them as almost if there's something other than human.
Right. And it's easy to do
they're
that.
Just, even though they're in the midst of an addiction or having issues, the reality of it is, it's like all of us. We always wonder what people's motivations are. We're always looking at a measure of self-preservation and protection. And so most of the time, relationship typically is going to precede being able to receive the resources. Being like for all of us, if somebody walks up and says, "Hey, I'm going to have you pay your house payment this month." Now, somebody may go, "That's awesome. Call me." But at the same time, most of us are going to take a step back and wonder,
what's the catch?
What's the catch? Why would that person do that? And and just because their lives are exposed to everyone, we all have problems. Some of us just have problems behind closed doors in a home,
right?
And others are just problems that are displayed for the world to see.
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely, yeah. And that's just it. And like I was, you're saying earlier, it's easy to kind of or I said it was easy, but it's really to kind of not look at them that way, and that's just because they're different or something. It's a bit of human nature a little bit. It's kind of, maybe it's part of that self-defense where we're saying, hey, they're different to us. I better not get too close. They might hurt me. And I don't know if that's just what we build our own natural immunities defenses in there. But but when you peel back the layer a little bit, and then you're like, okay, they're no different. They want the exact same things that I want for myself, just to have a different way of getting it, and that's and to be honest, that's humanity. That's life. We're all trying to be happy. We're all we all may have a different definition of what that is, but at the end of the day, we all want the best for us, our families. We want to try, and I honestly believe we all want to help each other to a point. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to wish best. Some are willing to do more than others, but I don't think there's some people that just wish ill will. There's always an exception, but and so I think once we kind of get past our own insecurities and our own trusts a little bit, and just say, hey, it's helping someone out with some food, or helping somebody out get a place to stay for the night, or just talking to someone for 20 minutes or so. We can all do that.
Well, and helping always looks different for every person. Often, you remember the tsunami, I think it was in 2004 in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And was talking to some people that had helped with some of the disaster and relief recovery of that. And one of the things that they had said was the first disaster was the tsunami, right? A lot of death. They actually said the second disaster was the aid from America. And sometimes there's an organization called Convoy of Hope. Sometimes certain types of compassion in certain scenarios can hurt instead of help. And so that's where, some of the relationship building actually allows you to get to root issues so that you can actually solve problems instead of, it's not always a one size fits all, because all of our lives are different, the stories are different, and the issues are different. So it's definitely it's definitely interesting. That's why he said we love to help, so we just keep running after it and keep making personal connections.
I'm just curious, because I would guess you guys are probably the most expert authority on the homeless situation here in Roswell, as far as people, boots on the ground, seeing what's going on daily in these camps and things like that. Is the population growing, shrinking, staying stagnant? What are we making any dents here? What's going on?
It's hard to tell. So we have our locals, a lot of them that born and raised here. They're from Roswell. We have others that have moved through, but we always have, throughout the year, we'll have a group of transients that come through town.
Is it like seasonal, like warmer weather, nicer? Yeah, I got
colder weather. We have them coming down from the north, and they'll be heading south. And this time of year, they'll be coming up from the south, heading north.
Okay.
And so we do have those transients, and every once in a while, we'll be driving down the street, and my wife will say, "Hey, do you know that homeless person?" I'll say, "No, they're new. They're somebody just coming through town probably." And so it's kind of hard to tell, but I don't really think it's growing by large numbers.
Sure.
But there are more right now. There are a few more. You see more on the street corners.
I didn't know like the world we live in just creates that too. Obviously the last 3 years with COVID and everything else, and I think I really think at the end of the day, all said and done, we created a bigger wedge and a smaller one in issues like this, because nonprofits went the way of the dodo for a little bit there during there, and then especially things like this where it was more direct and all that, people were like, now I got to watch out for my own here. And so some of this took a back seat for a lot of people. And I imagine, and if anything, the numbers grew because as mental health, as everything's deteriorating during this time, people are doing more unrational things like becoming homeless.
Yeah, we're living in the aftermath of the COVID nightmare and all of that, the shutdowns and but something else we're seeing, Mike, is rent and real estate has just gone crazy. And we're seeing a lot of people that all of a sudden are finding themselves homeless because they can't afford their rent and they have nowhere else to go. And so we've seen several people like that, actually probably 4 or 5 ladies in particular in the past couple of months that their story was, I couldn't pay my rent anymore, and now I'm out, and I have nowhere to go, and I can't afford to get into anything. And so the rent has gone way, way up, especially compared to the cost of living here and our wages. It's higher really than
that's a bigger gap there.
There is definitely a bigger gap, and so we're seeing more of that as well.
Yeah, and that's one that we just got to ride the times as best we can here and help and serve as and try to help. Maybe get creative with ways on finding maybe there's a group of the homeless folks that all share similar interests and things, and hey, let's all be roommates and pitch in, 4 of you rent a house or something. Maybe it's kind of options like that we have to figure out. Or and I imagine the shelter, it's always is to capacity, if not close to just about. And
we do see that scenario in particular with a lot of the guys who go to the homeless shelter. 2 or 3 of them will get together after a while and get an apartment and get out together.
I think it's a great idea because now they all work on, lift each other up, and next thing you know, together, it's little more hands make less work, and I think 4 people together trying to get it through is going to make it a little easier for them as opposed to each of them trying to do it on their own.
If I can, let me give some information about Harvest, and then we'll shift to Homeless Coalition.
Yeah, even though we've been kind of putting that one together a little bit.
Pastor Joel can help us out on some more of that as well. So number one thing I'd like to get the word out. We need volunteers.
Okay.
This is the first time. I've been there almost 9 years now. It'll be 9 years in a few months. And this is the first time we've ever said we really need volunteers.
Short-staffed.
Not really. We get the job done, but we're
it'd be a lot easier with a few more people.
It sure would be easier, and we could get more done if we had more people. Most of our volunteers, I just looked it up yesterday, so over 65% of our volunteers are retired seniors in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
So you need some young strapping muscles to.
We always need some more people that can lift, a 50-pound box or bag or something like that. Yeah, we could use that. We have a few, but again, most of our people are retired. In the summer, we'll have a few more.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
A few more families who'll come in with kids and they'll help us. But
okay.
But we love our seniors. I am a senior. I got my Medicare card in the mail yesterday.
Nice, you're official. You're an official member of the team. That's why I'm right behind you.
So, but yeah, we love our seniors, and they do a great job. So, if you're listening and you're retired and wondering what to do with your time, try Harvest Ministries. We have great fellowship there. We really do. It's not just work. We get together and it's a fun time. We work, but we have a lot of fun.
And
a lot of times they'll come in early in the morning before we start distribution, sit around and drink coffee and talk.
Just socialize.
Kind of like they would at a cafe or something.
Yeah.
And have a lot of fun. So if you or your parents, grandparents, somebody who's retired and trying to figure out what they do. Something else I just studied about, and that was that people who retire early without a plan of action suffer cognitive cognitive decline in the first 2 years.
I understand. It makes sense, you know,
It does.
if you're not engaged or
Right.
not having a point or purpose of doing something.
Exactly, and that word
Yeah.
purpose is key because, you know, a lot of people say, well, I'll do crosswords and brain teasers and things like that. And the studies have shown that actually that may help a little bit, but really your activities need to have purpose. And I can't think of a greater purpose than working at Harvest,
Absolutely.
helping the homeless and the hungry. And again, we partner with 14 other agencies and churches, and we make referrals. We coordinate with each other to get them the kind of help that they need. So yeah, we need volunteers. Number one. Number two, well, here's we're seeing a little bit of uncertainty. I think we all are. Food supplies, that sort of
Sure.
thing. Strange things like, okay, the styrofoam cups that we serve coffee to the homeless every morning, I can't get them. Can't find them.
Supply and demand, just
Exactly.
making things that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, I
Tricky,
can get little bitty 8-ounce cups, or I can get 32-ounce cups, but I can't get the 12-ounce cups.
Sounds like a good cup of
Yeah, I
coffee.
was gonna say, they'll be
Sam-
good to go for the next
Sam's,
day.
Walmart, the dollar stores,
Okay.
Shamrock. We've checked all of them, and finally, Shamrock had some, but they were $115 a box.
Wow!
For 1,000, I used to pay $40 for that box, and so you know, some of those things that are making it a little more uncertain. One thing that has not really faltered, and that has been our support from the community. Our community has been wonderful financial support, food support, which
Awesome.
leads me to the next one, and that is our letter carriers food drive is coming up May 14th.
Yeah, so usually it's in May time frame here.
Yeah, it's the second Saturday in May.
Good deal.
So Saturday, May 14th. So you get cards in the mail, and if you don't, send them out anyway. So
Yeah, that day, just put a bag of non-perishables out there at your food box or your little box condos, if you got those, or mailbox condos
Right.
or whatever it is.
So
there.
some people who only get mail at their post office box may not get a card. So and they won't know about it. But you know, some of the rural routes won't pick up, but all of the city routes will.
And I know, if I remember in the past, for those folks that don't necessarily get mail delivery there, that when you go to pick up your mail at the post office, they do have a box set
Right.
up for you to drop off food and things there. So
Right, we'll have a bin there just inside the door of the post
yeah,
office.
so if you, or even if you just, whatever reason, don't feel comfortable leaving it out your mailbox, you can always drop it off there at the post office.
Right.
Too.
Right. So yeah. So May 14th, Saturday, put out some groceries. The letter carriers will pick it up, and this is really this national food drive is the biggest one of the year for all of us.
And I will also, we've had this conversation. We're getting into the lean months as far as donations go.
Right,
Generally,
we are.
summer months
Summer drops off
are
quite a bit.
generally the quiet times for donations. Believe it or not, when the kids are in school, that's where most of the food and blood drives and all those things
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Is when kids are in school. So
That's true.
we're about to get lean here as far as donations go. So if you can step up the game during the mail carriers here, or make a plan throughout the summer to continue to contribute, these would be very helpful things. So.
One other thing, we've got 1,000 starter vegetables. We do this every spring.
Okay.
And so we had the youth group from Waymaker did a lot of it. We
Cool.
had some students from the university come out, and they put the cartons together. And then we had the children's ministry from Christ Church do several hundred. So
nice.
We got 1,000 little plants that we'll be passing out to our clients starting next week. And
Cool.
we've been watering them. They look beautiful.
Nice.
And so we're not only giving them food, but giving them a way to grow some of their own food.
Yeah.
And every year we get wonderful reports back of how they're giving all their neighbors squash and tomatoes.
How
and that
cool
sort
is
of thing.
that? Yeah.
So that's the other thing. And one other thing, we have the Bottomless Lakes Triathlon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the triathlon never ends. You just keep running forever.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it never.
It's called life.
July 9th, and actually Pastor Joel has run that a couple of times or just once.
I ran it once, mostly thankful that I didn't drown. I survived the rest, but I didn't drown. That was my biggest win that day.
So anyway, that's what we've got going on at Harvest. A lot of great things.
Good deal.
But if you want to volunteer, come on out and check it out. You'll love it. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah,
It is a great event.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Come by, of course, Harvest Ministries right here on Main Street. What's the hours that the building's open over here?
So
General?
we're open from 8 until about 2. We're open for distribution from 9:30 to 12.
Okay.
And we're open for breakfast from 8 to 10.
Okay. So if you really come by any time during those hours to say, hey, I like to volunteer, get involved, there'll be someone there you can talk to and learn more about doing any of that.
Right.
But it's right here downtown.
Right.
What's
right.
the actual address number?
601 North Main.
601 North Main. You can't miss it. That's your home for everything there. Let's get the update on the Homeless Coalition here. I know we kind of been bleeding that line together a little bit with homeless and harvest, but because at the end of the day, the mission statement's the same, although even though each has their specific task, but they both do chew a lot of the same dirt. So, let's get an update on how's as far as helping and volunteers and getting materials and everything for the coalition. How is that going?
You know what? We are definitely in a season of traction.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of great things that are going on. We had a leadership transition at the end of the year. With our director position.
Okay.
But one of the coolest things is our current director is Erica Boggs. She actually came through our program, kind of became a second-hand man to our previous director, her and her husband started their own church.
So they got a unique insight that they, so they could probably give a lot of perspective on the experience.
Absolutely. Well,
what they do.
Her story was actually part of when they moved here. It was literally the next couple of weeks that COVID lockdowns happened.
Oh, wow.
And her plan to go to nursing school and all kinds of other things just fell through, and she found herself in a position of need. And so we had some family rooms. We were able to take them in. She had 4 kids. And so it's been a really cool success story. Now she's helping to lead the organization, and she's doing a phenomenal job.
What an example. That's amazing.
Absolutely. And so just a couple quick stats, actually. Just in the last 2 months, so between February and March, we've actually helped to transition 12 people off the streets back into housing and working.
That's amazing. Remember we were talking about how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? That's exactly what we're talking about here. 12 people right now have got their lives turned around in the last month because of the Home Coalition. That's every time there's one, that's a huge success, and that justifies the reason why it's here.
Well, I like what you just said there. You called it the Home Coalition. So
oh, did I?
It is the Homeless Coalition, but our goal is to get it.
You know what? Maybe a happy accident here. I think we should just change the name and we'll call it the Coalition to get homes for people. The Home Coalition.
Yeah. Well, and so even with that though, I know that in January we actually had several as well. So at this point, just in this calendar year, I didn't have the exact number for January, but at this point in the calendar year, we're probably actually over 20 individuals that we've been able to get off the streets, working, either reconnect with family, transition into other programs. So some of the amazing things, community support is increasing. We have various organizations like Pioneer Bank, individuals that come and they're helping to cook meals. Donations have been rolling in from various organizations, churches, partnerships with Eastern New Mexico University. They're some of their students. So it's been a really good time. Also, we have a thrift store. For those that don't know, we were able to
get that started.
This last year or in 2020. It's all blurring together now because of COVID. But it's at 221 East Wildy.
Okay. Is it work kind of similar like the Refuge thrift store, where some of your folks use it to get what they need and things, and then what's left over we sell to the public, deeply discounted. That money goes back to help the program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. So if we have those that are in our shelters, if our homes need something and we're able to utilize it, we will. But even with that, lately we've had so many donations from people, whether it's a new freezer or we just had a local church donate 2 stackable sets of washers and dryers for our women's home, and so it's been a beautiful thing. But yeah, the thrift store though basically when you drop off your supplies are after we cover just essential costs of staff and keeping the building open. 100% of it goes back into operations. So it's been great.
As far as donations and things, if it's large donations, probably recommend calling ahead and all that to make arrangements. If it's like furniture or something,
something
that takes up some space.
Yeah, the best thing to donate is furniture and those types of items. One thing that we get constantly overwhelmed with, and I'm sure it's not us, but every other thrift store, secondhand store in town, is clothing.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough. That's another thing for volunteers. We would certainly could use some volunteers as well.
Sure.
To help go through some of those things.
And I would also say this: if the clothing you want to donate is something you wouldn't wear because it's so worn out, no one else does either. Go ahead and just throw that away. You actually cost the people you're helping more money when you donate, in essence, trash, because now they got to pay to have that taken to the dump and everything else. So
it is costly.
Yeah. So you're actually doing more harm than good for the nonprofit by doing so. Same thing with it, because I know the Humane Society says all the time, like, please don't bring us this stuff because now we got to pay to take it when it costs us money instead of making money. So when it comes to clothes, make sure it's clean, serviceable, if it's something that you would wear if you could, or whatever, then donate that.
Yeah, there's certain clothes that I'd have to donate. You said if you could wear that.
Well, I get it.
I might have got stung by a bee or something and a little swelling here.
Yeah. I understand. And then you get it. Oh, well, I'm going to get back to that, so I'm going to keep it in the closet. We never do.
Yeah, I literally have a box in my barn that says Mark's Skinny Jeans that I'm hoping to get into someday.
Yeah. See, my joke is that I can make regular jeans look like skinny jeans. To each his own.
The jeans are all crying all the time I get a leg in them. So.
Thank goodness for stretch fabric.
But definitely consider that a little bit. So, yeah, I understand. That's something I think all thrift stores really have an issue dealing with is clothing, and don't get me wrong, that clothing is greatly appreciated. I don't know how many folks, I'm especially business clothes, suits, dresses, those kinds of clothes, because generally that's not the kind of stuff they have, but they're going to need it to get job interviews and things like that, we've all tried to buy dress clothes or business clothes, and that's you can easily spend an arm and a leg on that.
As a church, we'll go down because we do street ministry and outreach, and one of our go-to places actually is the thrift store, and we're purchasing coats and blankets if they have beanies or gloves, things like that. We'll pick up a lot of those things, and then of course because it helps us cost-wise to not purchase everything brand new. Just because it's treated pretty roughly most of the time, but it actually enables us to be able to go and blesses the coalition at the same time.
If I was like if you're a new married couple starting out or something like that, forget going to box stores and catalogs and online and stuff. Go to thrift stores. You could buy all your small appliances and furniture, and most of it's great shape and everything else, and you pay pennies on the dollar. So you just furnished your home for a couple $100 instead of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And I don't care what married couple out there, you never have two nickels to rub together when you're married. You're living off love at that point. Ramen and love.
And eventually you're not going to love ramen.
But so don't spend a bunch of money on toasters and coffee pots. Or go to the thrift stores and help these great nonprofits, and you paid $10 for a coffee pot. That's
I might mention too, our director there is Joy Peralta.
Okay.
She does an amazing job.
She's wonderful.
That thrift store has been such a blessing to us. Actually, it was the hospital auxiliary thrift store.
Okay.
And they literally donated it to the Homeless Coalition.
Yeah.
And it's been a great blessing. It's been a
real
big source
steady
source of our income. Yeah.
Well, and not only has that been a blessing, also RPM Plumbing really gave us an amazing gift that they had a service vehicle was a small box truck.
Oh, so you can go do pick up and delivery.
Yeah.
Or
now
whatever.
with that, we try to do our best to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends on staffing.
Sure.
The good news is that a lot of our guys are working, and so when they're not actively employed somewhere, part of their responsibility then is to help at the thrift store, because all the resources we give are at no cost to the individuals.
Sure.
We are 100% donor funded, and the people that come in,
they had money for it, they probably wouldn't be there in the first place.
Right. And so with that though, if the guys are available, we'll be able to run out and do some things. But yeah, so that the pickup for things like that is always good to call. Joy's great about trying to schedule pickups if possible, and it's super helpful. So huge thanks to RPM for donating that truck as well. We actually just got it wrapped as well, so if you see it cruising around town,
still honk and wave.
Yeah, honk, wave, and then come drop your donation.
Yeah, and then put some stuff in the back of it and say, here it is. This is for the thrift store. But so please come shop, come donate, and I'm telling you,
and
young
come
folks,
serve.
And come serve. That's another thing. That's if you'd love to, that's the thing too. If you want to help out at the Harvest Ministries Homeless Coalition, whether it's stocking the shelves or going out to the camps and ministering or helping any way you can out there, more people are definitely needed for all those things.
Well, and for people that may be listening, often we wonder, I think within our own context, that with the time we have or the skills we have, does it really matter? When you take the big picture, if you go to the 40,000-foot view flying in the plane, and every person is doing a small thing, and not always just giving or monetary things, those are obviously critical.
Sure.
But when you take those little individuals and those little moments and you put those together, it allows people to accomplish a mission together.
Absolutely.
And so don't think that a few hours here and there is too small. Every bit of it matters, both for Harvest.
And I'll tell you, you've probably done a bunch by going out and doing these things, even though the recognition or understanding of what you've done is not as apparent or obvious to you right then. It's kind of like I always compare like kids, like when they talk about big brothers, big sisters, and talking about the young kids, and kids kind of hide their, like when if they don't know you, they kind of keep their emotions on their sleeve. They're kind of under a vest there. They're really. But they're like, I don't know if they had a good time. And then they go back and say, oh, man, they were raving about a good time. They just didn't tell it to you. I think some of the folks you're dealing with are the same way. They're not going to outwardly tell you you're helping them, but that little bit helped them. And even though you don't feel it that way, you're making a great impact there, even if you don't see it directly. And eventually you're going to, because it's wearing away. But, I mean, every one of those little acts, even if it doesn't, give you this reward, you're thinking that you're going to get this big moment of, and everyone's going to be happy. No, it's none of that there. But those little things, just giving that sandwich here, just making sure someone's got clothing for the night or a place to stay for the night. Those things build up, and years later, when that person's back on their right path, they're going to think of those moments you did, and those will be the moments that turn their life back to being to where they want it to be.
Well, you'll actually figure out with ministries like ours that at the end of the day, accolades are not what you seek. The reward you get is actually serving.
Yeah.
There's something more about that. When you serve others, you have to realize, okay, we're both pastors. We're created to serve each other. We're created to serve others. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, that the deep, most fulfilling need that all of us have, aside from Christ, is to serve. And when we serve, there's something inside that's unlocked that helps in ways that I don't think that people realize. When we're just running our lives about ourselves, just trying to do things our own way, typically it's not going to be as fulfilling. But when you serve others, you're going to have a fulfilled life.
Absolutely. I just saw the time, and we got one more big thing we definitely want to put on people's radar. Make sure you attend here. National Day of Prayer.
Yes.
We're about a week away here, I guess. What's today's 20th? It's
it's on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, May 5th.
Yes.
May 5th will be National Day of Prayer, 12 noon, out at the Chavez County Courthouse lawn as tradition there. But again, we invite come out for an hour. It lasts an hour, and it's an hour of going to be pastors praying, community leaders speaking, what we come to expect from our National Day of Prayer. Love to have you come out, and if you're able to, come out to the courthouse lawn and spend the hour with us. If you can't, because work doesn't let you, or you're out of town, obviously National Day of Prayer is a day, we all want you to pray together that day and remind prayer. So wherever you're at, prayer. But if you can, we'd love to have you join us out on the courthouse lawn here on May 5th, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So actually, Pastor Joel's coordinated this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's on tap for this year's National Day of Prayer?
You pretty much nailed it.
Okay.
We've kept some of the flow from Pastor Mark. Of course, he's still instrumental in helping to do some of the different parts and permits and things like that. But yeah, exactly that. At noon, County Courthouse, we're going to be just spending some time in worship and in prayer, and different leaders and pastors will be praying, and prayer is a powerful thing.
Absolutely. Maybe pick that day if you haven't had some of the downtown restaurants for lunch or anything, or maybe some of the food trucks that kind of hang. Get maybe there at 11:30, go have a little lunch or something, and then meander on over to the courthouse at noon and celebrate prayer and God with us for it. It takes an hour. Obviously, if you can't be there the whole hour, and you can only be there half or whatever time you can spend with us, we'd love to have you spend.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, prayer is certainly important. We don't just simply believe that prayer changes things. We know prayer changes things, and we see it all the time in people's lives, in their homes, and in their stories. And so it's especially if you're a believer out there, and for prayer, we're better when we pray together. And it's
strength
important.
in numbers, and when we're all on the same page praying, I imagine that's a pretty powerful message we're sending to God when we do that.
And I think it's a beautiful thing when all of our, we've all got different churches, different denominations. We believe the same, but a little bit different. But this one day we all come together, and prayer does make a difference, because it's not just the prayer, it's the God that we're praying to who makes a difference. And also every year I have said, so I started coordinating this back in 2003, shortly after we moved here in 2002. And Every year I've said this year is the most critical year ever. We need prayer. We need God's intervention more than ever before. And I will say it again this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need God's intervention more than ever before.
Absolutely.
So if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, God says he will hear from heaven. So that's what we want to happen.
May 5th the day.
We want a portal to be opened over the courthouse. And not only for us, but for everybody. We'll be joining our prayers with tens of thousands of other people around the nation and really around the world. So
we are a world that can use as much prayer as possible right now.
Absolutely,
Now more so than ever with going on all over the globe right now. We need to come together as Christians and pray and thank God for our blessings, but pray for strength to guide us through our next toils and tribulations here. So
it's the most critical hour ever to just live it out.
Absolutely.
Don't have it in title, be the real deal.
Absolutely.
Go out there, pray, serve, go. It's important.
That's kind of what I've always been, as I got to wrap this up, but as the last 3 years have been probably confusing for a lot of people as far as things that they think is right, questioning, you know what I mean? It's just been a lot of that. And I the two things, God and my values of my family, my parents, it's like what God's doing and, what my parents taught me is right and from wrong. I go back to basics. I'm like, look, helping this person, doing this thing, those are never wrong things. Even in the world where they're trying to make every decision confusing, it feels like. Doing the right thing, I've never had a problem or a lot of recourse bad from doing that. So
well, if you'll seek the truth, you'll find it.
Yeah,
I can tell that the truth is in the Word, and if you'll seek the Word, it'll change everything.
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely, folks. If you want more about anything we talked about, don't forget the Roswell Homeless Coalition and Harvest Ministries both have a Facebook page. You can reach out to those, shoot a message if you have any questions or want to volunteer or just want to get involved in anything we talked about here. And of course, you can also, when you come on out to National Day of Prayer on the 5th next week, if you see Mark or Joel or any of the pastors out there, give them a holler, talk to them. They'll be love to tell you more about any of the things we talked about here.
Absolutely. You can also go to RoswellHomelessCoalition.com.
There you go.
If you'd like to be able to donate monetarily.
There's a direct link there to do that.
For Harvest Ministries.
Perfect.
.org.
Yeah, so if you want to donate, cut some big checks there, that'd be a great way to help
every
out.
little bit helps.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
We'll see you next time, and don't work too hard. I know you serve, but take a break for yourselves, too, every once in a while. So appreciate you guys.
Mexico AG's office says Bingham's case alleges he had sexual relations with a 14-year-old girl. He was arrested in May of 2018 with the girl in his car at a vacant lot near the Roswell International Air Center. The cannabis industry is growing in Eddy County as the state has issued more licenses for retail pot outlets. 8 licenses were approved for retail stores, cannabis micro businesses, producers, or manufacturers within Carlsbad city limits on Friday. About 15 producers and 10 other businesses submitted applications. The Cannabis Regulation Act passed by the New Mexico legislature and signed by Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure moving into central New Mexico and a low off to our east, and that means warm downslope wind today. Our afternoon high hitting about 90. Should get plenty of sunshine, and it will be a little bit gusty. Breezy and about 50 for the overnight hours under clear skies. Saturday, slightly cooler. We'll stay in the mid-80s and sunny, back to the 90s and fair and breezy on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. It's off to the last day of the regular season today in baseball after Goddard lost to Artesia yesterday by a score of 6-3. The Rockets are still in a position to win district overall, but Goddard would have to sweep Artesia today in a doubleheader. That starts at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, it's Roswell taking on Clovis today at home in a baseball doubleheader to close out the Coyote season. that's also starting at 5 o'clock. And the Roswell softball team will be playing at Twin Bill at Clovis. That's a doubleheader that starts at 5 o'clock as well. And that'll wrap up the regular season for the big schools. So we have some scattered small school action going into early next week. But basically, this is the end. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Jeremy House. An inflation gauge closely tracked by the Federal Reserve jumped 6.6% in March compared with a year ago. It's further evidence that surging prices are pressuring household budgets and the health of the economy. California and 15 other states that want the U.S. Postal Service to buy electric-powered delivery vehicles.
And they're suing to halt purchases of thousands of gas-powered trucks. 3 lawsuits filed by the states and environmental groups demand that the Postal Service conduct a more thorough environmental review before moving forward with the next-generation vehicle program. Plaintiffs said emissions from gasoline-powered delivery vehicles would cause environmental harm for decades to come.
That's correspondent John Scott reporting. Stocks fell in the early trading on Wall Street today, putting major indices back into the red for the week after several sharp moves both up and down. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Jeremy House.
Roll in and save during the Moneyopoly event at Roswell Nissan with game-changing savings on a huge selection of vehicles like a 2017 Chevy Malibu for just $279 a month, a 2018 Escape for just $249 a month, or a 2015 Rogue for just $149 a month. Get a mini Monopoly board and play the Plinko Cash Grab for your chance at cold hard cash just for stopping by. Get a free trip to Vegas with a test drive and bring your mailer for the chance to win $50 grand. Moneyopoly all month long at Roswell Nissan, 2111 West 2nd.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The Goodyear Rubber Company researched and concluded that shoes wear out faster on the right foot than on the left. To fix this, just walk backwards for half the day. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is closing in on 10 o'clock. Thanks for allowing us to be a part of your day. Greatly appreciate that. If you missed any part of our show, you can go back and check it out at your leisure. Just log on to ksvptv.com. Click on the Mornings with Mike Winters channel, and you'll find them there. Or you can go on our 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM Facebook wall, or look for our Roswell's Talk FM YouTube channel and find it there as well. We had Congresswoman Yvette Harold join us in the 7 o'clock hour. Our guest didn't make it in the 8 o'clock, and then, of course, we just played our Mark Green and Pastor Joel Wood interview here, talking Harvest Ministry and all that. So ksvptv.com, you'll find them all there at your leisure. Have an amazing weekend. We'll talk